we? All right. Says I'm live. Good, very good. Says I'm live. So let's get into it. Straight into reading some of these comments that have come through, and some by a retard where I've got in where I put in the comments or in the chat section here. There are some retards who stop by and comment, which is hard case. That's true. Makes me laugh. Like this person at H.E. Peter John Man. They 6295. This guy's a real twat. I have no idea who this person is, but they are hard case. They keep coming back and they keep adding in lots of comments. I think one of the videos is like blinking a bazillion comments just from this one person. Hard case. Anyway, maybe that person might join this live and might comment in here. But in the meantime, let's move that. Let's put that on that screen actually. Oh, hang on. Maybe I should switch that around. Put that up there and move this back down here where it originally was. Not expecting anybody on this live stream. What is that time? It's like 1:30 in the afternoon. Yeah, about 1:30 on a Tuesday, the 11th of August. And I'll read through some of these comments that are on here. Hang on, let's refresh this because this fella may have come back with, damn, maybe I've responded to all of the ones. Might have to jump onto another part. Let's drag that up there. Comments. There he is. I probably won't read through all of his because I don't know, maybe he is retarded there at H.E. Peter John Man They 6295. Rubber Kiwi, you called. Hey mate, cheers for dropping in, stopping by. I'm just having some fun gonna read through some comments. Should I share that screen? Does it matter? Bloody hell, yeah, there's heaps on there. Yeah, might as well. Why not? Let's go share screen. Dun, dun, dun. Is that the one? Community? Let's see. We'll soon see. Yeah, that's it. That's what I'm sharing. Don't know if there's any copyright things on this one. Oh, Hammerhead is back. One day ago, he's got here giving me some advice at the start of the video. Say you are reviewing this program and name it, and say you're doing it under YouTube's guidelines and fair use policy. Otherwise, they will keep copyright striking your channel and it will hurt your back end. Oh, thanks, Hammerhead. Didn't realize you cared. I don't know that you do, but yeah. That's probably, what's this one? Oh, yeah, my Secrets of War, the final reaction. So it's a 3-part, but YouTube has already blocked part 1. Part 2, as far as I'm aware, is still up, and that was part 3, or the final part. So there's parts 2 and 3 there. I'm not going back and changing anything on those. It is what it is. So cheers for the top tip, hammerhead or hemorrhoid head. No, cheers for that. Boiler House. The problem is, what's this one in regards to one of the, it looks like a post that I put up. The problem is both Labor and National are pushing mass immigration on us. Supply and demand is market manipulation. If you have 1% more demand than the supply, then, if you have 1% more demand than supply, the prices don't go up by 1%. They go up until 1% of people give up. Sure, is that right? Boiler House. We don't have a democracy. Our politicians are guilty of high treason. Yeah, right. Oh, actually, I should just thing there so that they can end up hopefully dropping off my comments section. Person of the interwebs, and they hate us. They think our society fell into our laps and we are all lazy. Who's they and thinking who are all lazy? I just heart it anyway, just so I can get rid of it out of the comment section. Mandrake, it's all about a hybrid war, weaponized mass immigration. All right, righto. Who's this? Uriaro? It is now called the New India. They are here to take over all our jobs because India is overpopulated. Even their students can't get jobs. That's why Modi, whatever his name is, came here fast to make sure the free trade agreement is sealed, and that goes for Australia. Yeah, possibly. Who knows? What's this? Poeticus. Our jobs is a wild assertion. NZ's a melting pot country. So who's we? A fine line between segregation and patriotism. Besides that, with the reduction in GDP for tech replacements, why is it not okay to get more personal? Why is it not okay to get more personal? Personal or personnel coming into NZ straight into work, but it's a problem because whoever we is aren't doing the work, but expect all New Zealanders to be actively working or no newbies from overseas. Question mark. And we can argue India is filling too many roles for family and friends, but that's a failure of how we view looking after ours. Just because we don't value each other doesn't give us a right to dictate how others make that decision, in my opinion. Whatever you fellas, you fellas hash it out between the two of you. What's this video about illegal immigration from Canada to USA? Here in the UK, employers pay less tax if they employ Indians. Okay, righto. Just heart that. I'm not necessarily hearting these comments because I agree with them or because I think they're good. I think it's just a way for me to, when I refresh the page, it should get rid of those comments. so, so they are not sitting in this unresponded section. I could just leave them, I suppose, but yeah. Jason C. Had a clarity moment last night. Didn't look into Modi's visit to Australia, but Netflix top viewed movies 7 was a Hindi language movie. Yeah, well, there's plenty of foreign foreign language foreign languages, foreign movies on Netflix from what I've seen. Uh, what's this? Rory's. I'm not Rory. I'm not Rory A biggest fan or not Rory's biggest fan by a long shot. But he's right on this one. That's the Rory Stewart. We will fight for Queen and country. Righto, that's from Rocket Propelled Wombat. What's this? Puniu River Cuz? Puniu. Niu? Oh, River Cuz. In recent years, the scrutiny of the Treaty of Waitangi, RMA, fast track bill, etc., is a warning sign of increasing pressure on New Zealand to ratify our founding constitution, which is probably an obstacle for foreign investors. The removal of iwi in resource management decisions and putting our conservation lands up for sale, the implementation of data centres makes you wonder about the language used to sell these decisions by certain members of parliament. Clearly lots to this stuff. Look at all this, like there's still hundreds of comments in relation to that video. That one there is New Zealand becoming India. The good thing about Indians is they vote right. I don't know. Do they? NZ Reggae, I've seen this person drop in on a live every now and then. Don't sell the land, keep it in the whānau, don't buy their food. Keep it simple, stupid. I live in a developing country. I see a pattern in which white majority countries are expected to open their borders and change their demographics. Protect your borders, this person says. Leftists in my country have no problem with illegal immigrants living here. Any effort by current government to deport them is met with protests. I guess the same is true of leftists in white majority countries. Don't be ashamed of being a white majority country. We have many countries that have officially declared themselves to be Arab states. Yeah, I don't know if we're a white majority country. Uh, Obviously, we've been colonized way back when. But yeah, I don't know that there's any concerns about being a white majority country. I get it. There is still racism here in NZ, unfortunately. I think there's racism everywhere, anywhere, depending on which groups you go to and speak to or speak with, which each to their own. If that's how they are. There's also talk of white or Anglo-Saxons in countries being being an actual minority in relation to other ethnic groups and stuff in those countries. But anyway, people always have something to say. Clearly, I'll just heart that question and comment to move on. Shane Conquer, 45. Indians employ Indians, Asians employ Asians, South Africans employ South Africans, POMs employ POMs, etc., etc. Here lies the fundamental problem. Only Kiwi citizens, not residents, should have the right to vote after at least five, maybe 10 years residency. Yeah, I think 5, 7, or 10. I've mentioned in other videos. I wouldn't have an issue at all if it was 10 years. There was a comment I read. I think I might have, it probably won't show up in here because I think I already just hearted it and thumbs up the comment. It was along the lines of somebody saying Kiwis have got to wait until they turn 18 before they can vote. Like Kiwi citizens got to wait till they turn 18 before they can vote anyway. So why do we give and make special allowances for other ethnicities migrating into this country and enable them the ability to vote after 12 months of permanent residency? I just thought to myself, and they worded it better than what I've just described, but I thought, man, that's an interesting point. That's a good comment. Probably worth a discussion and worth throwing on the table to have a bit more of a chat about. Like, yeah, it's an interesting take. Excuse me. I'd love to know how many 18-year-olds in New Zealand are actively looking to vote and or actively vote. Be interesting anyway, just from a statistics perspective. Where are we? Let's go. Oh, hang on, what's that? Meanwhile, Israel is taking over India bit by bit. Therapy, spa, treatment places for the IDF after committing genocide. Let that sink in. This is Noob Chicky. Yeah, right, Noob Chicky. I'll just give you a thing so we can get you off. Oh, what's going on here? Oh, no, that's all right. The real issue, this is from Kiwi792. The real issue is the amount of people migrating here, not the type. Really? Okay, interesting. What else you got to say? Although it does seem like there is a skew towards more Asian nations that have their own high populations than in the past. If people come here and assimilate, then it doesn't matter who they are. Yeah, probably by and large, to a large degree. But how are you getting people like the immigration laws, Kiwi 792, are being impacted by those that are not citizens, from what I'm reading, and the way our current immigration laws and stuff are mandated or set out? You can't tell me that people have assimilated under permanent residency after only having been here for 12 months and they have the opportunity to vote and influence the vote. And by influencing the votes, you also, I guess, to a degree, influence and or manipulate the types of people that can and do and that will come in to the country. And so that will have a knock-on effect where you've got the real issue is the amount of people. I think it's both. I think it's the number of people and the types of people that come. And we're seeing that. We've seen that in the UK. There's types of people in that Muslim community that are over there that are blinking, dare I say, appear to be running the show over there. So I think it's just a matter of time before some of that stuff happens here. And if the talk is true, if the chatter is true about the Indian community in the Papatoetoe region or area in Auckland, South Auckland, wanting to rename that area to an Indian name, well, dare I say there would be a bit of an uproar in that area. Well, I'd like to think so. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there wouldn't be. Maybe people just go, oh yeah, just name that an Indian name, name that a Chinese name, name this other suburb, just get rid of the names. I'd be interested to know what the tipping point would be. Anyway, what else have you got? If people come here and assimilate, then it doesn't matter who they are. If they assimilate, that's the point. That's the part in terms of an important part of what you're talking about. But the assimilation, I wouldn't imagine that it's happening after 12 months and having the opportunity to vote. But in regards to amount, New Zealand is currently not set up from an infrastructure point of view for more than we have now. Yeah, and we haven't really been properly set up for more than 3 to 4 million for some time, and have been frantically trying to retrofit solutions to cope with the increasing population, all of which has and is slowly eroding the quality of life for everyone living here. Compare life in the 80s, 90s, and even early 2000s to now. Busier roads, reduced access to popular holiday destinations, sometimes now restricted to restricted access to previously free places, cost of living, cost of housing, access to hospitals, GPs, etc. I've always thought that Queenstown is a petri dish of New Zealand. Queenstown, yeah, holiday destination, a small, beautiful place not meant for a large population. I'd say now it is ruined, overpopulated, crowded, stressful place to visit that is primarily available to wealthy people, and the council scrambling to figure out how to grow in a place that you can't easily expand within, at least without ruining what it is. I guess we need to decide what we are prepared to sacrifice in regard to the New Zealand quality of living slash way of life for the economic growth that our leaders and the business people want with increased migration. I guess the other thing to consider is that if we don't want overseas people coming here to take jobs, then New Zealanders need to do themselves. Then New Zealanders need to do themselves, not go overseas to chase the dollars themselves, and be mindful of who we vote for. Are they just selling our country out for self gain? Who's they? Kiwi 729. You mean the government, the people that have been elected into those positions? Not too sure. Make some valid points in terms of I think with regards to where were we, the overpopulation and all that sort of stuff. You've got here decide what we're prepared to sacrifice, or just put a pause on immigration for 12 months, 2 months. I don't imagine that that's going to upset the apple cart too much more than what it is. I don't think that's going to make it harder if our unemployment is higher than it's ever been in the last 11 years, with 111,000 Kiwis or 170,000 Kiwis out of work, and we let in another 111,000 immigrants. It's probably not going to go very well. And then you got old Mr. Potato Head Luxon saying, "But the good news is we've made 13,000 new jobs." It's like, bro, you got to. Did you not hear the numbers? We got 170,000 out of work, and you're just letting another 111,000, and you're talking about the good news of 13,000 new jobs created. Not sure what he's smoking, but anyway, let's give you a heart there, Kiwi 792. Muddle through. Oh, hang on, where are we? Talk. I'm from South Auckland, born and raised, and we call Papatoetoe Bollywood. Maybe that's the new name they're gonna give it. Maybe that's one of the new names on the table. Robert Kiwi. After all the hub hubbub hubbub about adding an H to Wanganui, they better be pissed about a brand new foreign name. I don't know what the situation was with Wanganui, but yeah, that sounds. I can hear what you're saying though. Waiting to see if you get called out too. Talk 5018. Jazz Dog, it's crazy. Non-citizens can vote in New Zealand. Yeah, if it can happen in New Zealand, it could happen in Australia, Britain, or Canada, etc. Most people only vote to avoid fine and have not much idea about what politicians do. Yeah, and I think that's where people have said, "Oh, if only we could vote no confidence." That would be a great thing. Cheers for that comment, Jazz Dog. 69. Rubber Kiwi, did you see the ambulance service had to open an emergency dispatch centre because they're overworked? Far out. Oh, I didn't see that, but I would not be surprised. Same with some of my mates, ex-soldiers that are working as fireys here in NZ. Just the scope of their work that has expanded right out beyond what it used to be. I don't know. I've never been a firefighter, but having sat down and spoken with some of them, like they're under the pump, man. It's crazy in terms of what's happening in that space. Rubber Q, if people start dying, if people start dying, VOS, the ambulance was at the Sikh temple, people are going to get upset. VOS, if people start, cause go on. That's for me. I should have been able to try to work that one out. Jazz Dog, tick every box on election form and write no suitable candidate. That would be good, eh? Blinking, no suitable candidate. Yeah, useless, other colourful language, but probably get told off or something like that. Probably be thrown out, discarded. Let's not blame the Indians. Boot on the other foot. We'd all do the same. It's our governments doing the damage, and why our brand of capitalism requires a constant supply of low-wage workers to maximise profits. Blame government and not the immigrants. Oh, that's maybe a valid point, but I think though Would we do the same? When you say we would do the same, boot on the other foot, we'd all do the same. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure who who that's in relation to. I suppose muddle through. Yeah, we see Kiwis of all sorts heading overseas for a better life, better pay, etc. Some of those, some people, and as people have rightly said, some people use NZ as a stepping stone to get to places like Australia. Um, much like people will be using Ceuta in Spain as a stepping stone to get into Europe and other places. So yeah, I don't know. Probably some truth to what you're saying, Muddle through, in terms of let's not blame Indians. I don't think that was the point of the video. This is New Zealand becoming India. The point of that video wasn't let's blame Indians or that sort of thing. It was asking a question in terms of what we're doing and the types of demographics and ethnicities and immigrants that are coming into New Zealand. All well and good, but just the their ability to vote and then the knock-on effects that that will have, not just in the short term, but in the long term. Like 12 months is bugger all time to have that ability to then vote in a foreign country that you weren't born and raised in, where you still hold on to all your other traditional beliefs, which is all well and good from where you've come from, is, yeah, I just don't think is smart. But yeah, anyway, give that a heart. Where are we? Can confirm, bro. I volunteer at my local brigade, and the Korea firefighters are under the pump. Yeah, big time. Excuse me. They have loads of money. It's just mismanaged. Crazy. Yeah, that is crazy. That's interesting about the loads of money. Obviously, I don't think the the teams, by and large, the team members on the ground that are doing all the work are getting that loads of money. I don't know where the loads of money is going, but yeah, they are definitely under the pump, and just how that scope of work has broadened for them. Jazz Dog, I've done it a number of times. Oh, what's that with regards to the form? Tick every box on election form, right? No suitable candidate. Yeah, good for you. Is there still space for a right in for a writing candidate will make Joe will make Joe PM whether he wants the job or not? I agree. Migrants are just taking advantage of opportunities presented. It's Parliament creating policies to attract migrants. Yeah, that's a fair point too. So, what Jazz Dog has said in regards to what Muddle Through has got here, there's definitely some truth to what he's talking about. But I do think there's always an element of, obviously, not only the government and the people that have been elected to supposedly look after and protect our borders and the people and the citizens and stuff within it, or the people, not just the citizens, but there should be uh, uh, what's the word? When it comes to voting anyway and making decisions on policy, I would have thought that that decision should be made by citizens of the country, not permanent residents, not those with a visa that doesn't have an expiry date, but they've been here for 12 months continuously. Like, you can't tell me that people have assimilated into the place in that 12 months time, from where they've come from. Like, there should be citizens making those policy decisions and electing people into those positions, which is not really what we have. People are in those positions, and there's a whole bunch of people that aren't citizens that carry a lot of the sway with the votes. And so when you do have policies that allow large groups of ethnicities to be able to come, whether that's from one place, whether it's India, whether it's Blinken, China, whatever, and they come in and they like those laws and they want them to stay the same. Well, common sense would say that they're probably going to vote for the same political party that has enabled that type of movement into the country as what they've enjoyed, so that they can get auntie and cousin and Blinken, whoever else they want to have come over, then just employ those people from those areas and that as well. Again, I got no problems with people coming over, working, that want to work and that are prepared to work hard and do what they need to do. That's great. Maybe, like I was saying in that video, you know, maybe we need to pull our fingers out as well. Kiwis here, citizens here. How many of those 170,000 are actually born and raised Kiwis? I'd be interested to know in terms of that unemployment number that's been thrown out. Excuse me. There's lots of things that I don't have the answers to. Again, I've typically usually always got more questions than answers, and trying to, excuse me, find out the answers to those with the organizations and the people that oversee different areas and have that as part of their portfolio. They should be able to, rustle up that information or those numbers for us to get a better understanding of it, so that then hopefully better decisions can be made. What's this? Roger Parker. Indentured labour is slave labour. Despicable that New Zealand is reprising a heinous colonial practice. Most have to pay agents to get a visa, then many have to pay employers here to get jobs. Roger Parker. Despicable that New Zealand is reprising a heinous colonial practice. Most have to pay agents to get a visa, then many have to pay employers to get jobs. Bit hard to. Indentured labour is slave labour. What's this person got here? Not really sure what this fella's on about. EL Army. That's Indians screwing Indians you're talking about. That's what happens when we have very green politicians like Ardern. She got caught by giving Indians top positions in the overseas immigration departments. Again, citizens, born and raised, how, where, and why are we, or as a country, appointing foreigners to positions like that? I don't know if that's the case based on what this person is saying, but top positions in overseas immigration departments that aren't New Zealand citizens, that haven't, dare I say, assimilated to the country and how things are in that country. It's just whoever's making the decisions, you would think, apparently they're intelligent people. They've got degrees and stuff. Apparently, I don't know. That's the rumor. But you would think that, well, I would have liked to have thought they would be having conversations and thinking about the potential long-term impact or effect that may have if you if you employ and empower people from a foreign country that haven't really been in the country that long, and who probably have a vested interest in wanting to get more and more people from their area or from their neck of the woods into the country. It's just like it seems to me a lot of that stuff is happening. You can see it, or I haven't seen it in Canada, but based on a lot of the comments that I've read and seen and received, apparently it's happened over there. In Italy, it's another area where I got sent some links and stuff there in regards to the immigration stuff there. And everybody at the customs, when you're going through the Italy airport, as an example, is all foreign. They're all foreign-looking people. Blinking heck, it's just the UK obviously is a standout. I just think it's probably just a matter of time. Australia and the Labor government and what they're doing there, essentially it seems like they're buying votes with regards to the immigration policies that they have there and the number of people that they're bringing into the country. Again, like to some of the comments, it's not necessarily the immigrants that are coming in. It's those making the decisions and the policies. So I do agree by and large with a number of the comments and stuff that have been shared. But there is, my opinion, there is a responsibility on the individuals that are coming over as well. If you're going to migrate to another country, go there with good intentions. By all means, it's got here, boot on the other foot. We'd all do the same. I don't know about we'd all do the same. Muddle through. I don't think that's, maybe, I don't know what the percentage would be. But yeah, I think it's what's the words I'm looking for? I think it's a bit rich to say that we'd all do the same. I don't think that's the case. But anyway, each to their own in terms of the view. Let's just heart these. Do I have to heart all of those? What happens if I just refresh that? Will that get rid of those comments and then have fresh ones? Looks like it. Good. What's this one? The uni party is terrified of us finding common ground and holding them accountable for destroying our country. This comment is long. It's my own opinions. What do you think? Question mark. Oh, bloody hell, long. Holy heck. Oh, that's not too bad, I suppose. Oh, let's have a look here. What's the sorry, what's the comments? Parliament creating policies to attract migrants. Rubber Kiwi, I was in the US for 10 years. I never assimilated, not because I wasn't trying. They're just a different level of crazy. Happy to be home. Well, I lived in the US for 10 years. Whereabouts did you live, bro? Did you move around a lot, or were you in the one place for 10 years in the US? Jazz Dog, modern age with all the technology, any decisions in Parliament should include the voters, not just political parties. Yep. Rubber Kiwi takes 2 seconds to set up a Facebook or YouTube poll. Adding a sign in for NZ citizens shouldn't be hard. Yeah, cool. Sounds good. Jazz Dog, green is for envy, not environment. Flat car battery this morning. Call center was Indian, barely spoke English, so was the roadside guy who came to charge it. I think he tried to sell me a battery, but after 20 minutes, I said, screw it. So the only time I ever really voted in NZ was during the flag referendum, and I voted for the laser kiwi. For the laser kiwi, then there was the bird of the year vote, where obviously I voted for the seagull. I've never really taken things like this too seriously, but the older I get, the more I realize I probably should. I'm probably with you in that space, Talk 5018, just in terms of my looking into things a little bit more from the from that political scope, in terms of who should I be voting for, like, and why should I vote for them. What's it? Pulled out 250 cash. He jumped it and then left no battery. Okay, let's get into this one. This person did say it was long. Oh, what's this? Based in Montana, but I was truck driving 47 states and 2 million miles. Wow, even drove past Disneyland a few times. Holy heck. Geez, 10 years, 2 million miles, 47 states. Wow. Geez. That song, I've been everywhere, man. That's you, Rubber Kiwi. This comment is long. Journalists need to ask each party what their immigration policies are, how many they will let in. Journalists? What does journalists need to ask each party what their immigration policies are, how many they will let in, put it on a graph for us all to see. Mass immigration is the issue. Do you really want to compete with 500,000 immigrants when you're trying to rent or buy a house? Labor has proved it wants mass migration. National wants house prices to increase. Most people now are paying hundreds extra in rent or hundreds of thousands more buying a house because they are competing against hundreds of thousands of foreigners. It's been happening for years. It's market manipulation, pushing demand well above supply for housing, health infrastructure. Nearly all of our political parties are treasonous. Holy heck, this is our Baller House with their thoughts and their long comment. What do I think? Okay. A lot of our issues that justify mass immigration comes from our education system, from colleagues not setting students up for real jobs, to our higher education system being run like a business by a bunch of grifters. We should be able to train doctors with no debt, paying them as they train on the job. If we had an ambulance of people training, it would take a load off the system and give our experienced doctors and nurses time they need to train the next lot. We have limited exports here, mainly dairy and tourism. More people is increasing our imports while not helping our exports for seasonal workers. We need a softer touch to nudge those on the benefit into work. Most of them are terrified of getting off the dole, as once you get off it, it's hard to get back on. Bloody hell. Well, that to me, it's just sounds like people being lazy. Like, being on the dole, surely nobody is aspiring to want to be on the dole and or want to get on it and stay on it. That just, I'm not saying that that's what you're saying in here, but that just seems like a piss weak excuse to get off the dole because it's hard to get back on it. Can't be that hard to get back on it. I mean, I don't know. I've never been on the dole. I have no intentions of going onto the dole. As I mentioned, I'm lucky in a fortunate situation whereby I don't have to go on the dole. But even like, if it came down to a choice for me, go on the dole or get a job and make an income, I would be doing everything I can to go get a job. Be the garbage person. Go be a cleaner in blank in the shopping center or whatever. Go and find whatever laboring job, trades assistant or whatever, scaffolding. That's not a slight on people that work in those areas. That's just, I guess, do you want to be on the dole, or do you want to blank and make some money, use that as an opportunity or a stepping stone to something else, into something else, into something else? You know what I mean? I think it's just a, I think it is a lazy option, my personal take, for people that just want to go, I'm going on the dole. Um, yeah, unless you've got some blank and really good, valid reason for doing that, then okay, no worries. But I think that's a lazy cheapskate way out of, especially if you're physically able. Physically able, mentally, you're not too crazy, and and you are capable of working and doing a good job, then you should work. Like, do what you can to try to find a job. I'm not saying that those people aren't looking to try to find a job. I think sometimes what we may find ourselves doing is thinking that we're above that particular job, looking at it and going, no, I don't, no, I can do better than that. No, I can do better than that. And that may be the case, but bloody hell, like if it's not popping up right now, then just why not do that job right now that you feel you're maybe better than, and then there's nothing stopping you from looking to do better and looking to find another job whilst you're already in the job. Anyway, that's my rant on that. What we were talking about? Dole. Helping export season, blah 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 blah. Off the dole. Once you get off it, it's hard to get back on. Yeah, I think that's a blink and just an excuse. We need to offer them extra money to work or train for real jobs with no strings attached. Say it will not affect the benefit. It will not be used against them. But hey, if you want an extra $100, turn up for a day at this time, slowly building their confidence, getting them back into work. Oh, okay. I think I can see and hear what you're saying. But again, I think if we just start handing out more money to people that are already on the dole and say, you know, try, we'll train you up, that there would probably be some people that would take that on with both hands and blink and rip in and do as well as they can. Then there'll be other people that'll just be like, oh, I'll just take the extra money, thanks. Give a half-assed effort into trying to train and get better, and not really have any intention of looking to get off the dole. Just because I think people become comfortable, and set in that comfortable zone, and if they're going to get paid a little bit of extra money, maybe get some qualifications in the process, who knows, maybe down the road they might go, you know what, I am capable of doing more than just sitting back and collecting the dole each week. Maybe I should get up and do something more. Who knows? I think there's lots of things that could be adjusted and looked at in terms of salaries and wages, which I spoke about in another live, for members of parliament. Like $500,000, $300,000 base salary with all the other expenses covered, just doesn't make sense to me. It's supposed to be a public service type role, isn't it? Public service, that doesn't sound like a public service role. It sounds like they're in it to make some money for themselves, which is fair enough. I mean, if that's what they want to do, but it just, I don't know. It's, how do you how do those that are on those high salaries, prime minister included, how do they connect or understand or relate to what everyday families' struggles are? Families with work, with fuel, with children, with education, with sports, with paying the bills. How do they? I don't know that they can connect with that. If I think somebody said in the comments before, Luxon is on about 10 grand a week. Like, he could, with that, he's not feeling the pinch of fuel prices. He can't tell me that he's feeling the pinch of fuel prices each week. He's probably not paying for fuel, for starters, because it's probably a work car with a fuel card. You know what I mean? He's not feeling the pinch on grocery shopping. Not at $10,000 a week. I don't think anybody is. So it's just, and that's just one example. If those figures and stuff are right in terms of the annual salaries, good on them if that's the money that they're making. But I just don't know that that sort of annual salary is warranted, or yeah, I don't know that it's warranted when everything else is paid for. Like, all the other expenses and stuff are paid for. Your travel's paid for. What's wrong with a $90,000 salary? That's your salary, because fuel is paid for, your accommodation and travel is paid for, other expenses, business lunches and meetings are paid for. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to hear what people's thoughts are. Anyway, I haven't even bloody gotten through this fella's comment yet. 10 of the day is slowly building their confidence, getting them back into work. Mass immigration has pushed rents and house prices through the roof, and wins is part of the problem. They always pay the outrageous rents without questioning, creating an artificial flaw in the rental market, which is hurting the workers in both ways as we pay for it. Oh, wins is part of the problem. They always pay the outrageous rents. What's that for? What do you mean the wins always pays the outrageous rents? Outrageous rents. What the bloody hell? These foreigners get 0% interest loans from their home countries, out competing Kiwis to buy up our houses and businesses. And they then send our money back to their home countries, which has a self feeding effort of giving them more of our currency to then buy up more with our current political parties and the mass brainwashing from the media. Holy heck, 0% interest loans? Really? Where's that info? Is that what our government is doing? Is our government giving foreigners 0% interest loans? I don't think I've ever heard that before. Mind you, this person did just say it's my own opinions. What do you think? Well, I don't know where you got that information from. If that's true, that's another trucking ridiculous thing. If that's the case, what's this? Sorry, bloody comments in here. Bro, you've never heard of the laser Kiwi? You should look into it. It really shows how good Kiwi humor is. Yeah, laser Kiwi. I have no idea. No journalists left, just reporters and messages. Uh, jazz. Oh, yeah, true. I agree with that. The doll couldn't keep up with my missus' lifestyle. You mean I can't be CEO of a corporation the day I leave high school? Remember, Luxon only spends $60 a week on food, so why can't you? I think I remember. Oh, was that in the news at some point? My soap, where he's saying he only spends $60 a week on food. Bloody hell! Looking at the size of his blinking chubby cheeks and his blinking neck, I wouldn't think he just spends $60 a week on food. It looks like I think he's spending more than $60 a week on food there, cuzzy. Rubber, not to you, my soap. I'm talking to Luxon, cuzzy. Rubber Kiwi. My personal chef sucks at budgeting. Jazz dog, some people's only experience of constant income has been welfare. They fear losing the security of the small income and don't change their situation. Yeah, that's a fair point too, eh? Um, yeah, and again, that feeling comfortable, that sense of security, maybe, Jazz dog, with regards to what you've shared there. Oh yeah, you've got losing the security. So that sense of security, that yeah, what they've been used to, it is hard. It is hard to change. Yeah, 100% I acknowledge that. But it's again, it doesn't change personally my opinion in terms of, if you know that you are capable of doing more, that you can work, what's to so say those people are on the benefit, cool, collect your benefit, be actively trying to find a job, be actively trying to better your situation, be proactive and trying to do something about it. Don't just sit back and be woe is me. I'm just speaking in general terms here too, in response to the good comment that Jazz Dog has put here, which is a valid point. But don't just sit back and be woe is me, blanking. This is how I was born and raised. I wasn't showing anything else. I wasn't, this is what whoever my parents did or my grandparents, and this is how we lived, and this is all I know. Blah blah blah. That's all people are choosing to know, if that's their mindset, and that's all people are choosing to do. So ultimately, we've got those choices, and we want to look to try to make better ones. We want to look to try to grow and improve a little bit each day where we can. Um, and sometimes it may feel like we've gone backwards on the day when we're trying to get 1% better or whatever. You're going to have days like that, which are going to suck. But the intent and the aim, I think anyway, is to keep trying, keep pushing. If you fail, you fail. Try again, rather than failing from it. Was it first attempt in learning or something like that? But yeah, there's nothing wrong with failing. It's when you just stop and don't try to carry on anymore. Then that's where I think you know you allow other issues to become bigger and bigger, and then it's just harder to get out of that rut that people may be in or may find themselves in. F off they do. Wins gives me $20 a week to help with my $200 rent. Yeah, it was. Oh, yeah, cool. So there we go. There's Rubber Kiwi. He's speaking from experience with regards to $20 a week. Yeah, that sounds like bugger all. If I'm being honest, with regards to what the comment is on here. Yeah, he said it in an interview. Okay, he did say it in Luxon about the $60. That's nuts. $60. Cut it out, man. Oh, holy heck! Lumina Lovecraft is back. No one should work a job. Only careers should exist. Okay. Rubber Key. What do you do, Lumina Lovecraft? Then who does the jobs, Luminal immigrants now? The only way to fail is to give you up. What do you do for work, Lumina Lovecraft? Or what do you do for a career, I should say? You don't work it if you're not working a job. Crack up. Anyway, let's carry on with the old mates thing here. Yeah, I think that's a bit of an outrageous claim 0% interest for foreigners, and that they're paying, all the Winds are paying all these outrageous rents. Doesn't sound like it, because we've got somebody here on the chat who's just said, truck off, they do. AI and technology development, quantum mechanics, son of you bloody twat. Cut it out. Maybe NZ needs to start mining. The one thing that is ridiculous in NZ is the price of electricity, which then flows on to the cost of other things. Hydro and geothermal should make it cheap. Yeah, I don't know. Rack ZD411. I am that I am. You are a twat, is what you are. Good to see you laughed at my laughing at you. Looking the way DVA is set up, I personally reckon it incentivizes bad health or poor self care. If you're broken and crying about your body, you get financial support. DVA, Department of Veteran Affairs. If that's what you're talking about, Jazz Dog, I know a number of veterans that are actually broken, that have actually been not crying literally, but have been fighting the good fight, so to speak, to try to get entitlements to help them. And it's like pulling teeth. Guys are not getting the support that they should be getting, or that you would have thought that people would get, that have got legitimate Blinken challenges and struggles and that sort of thing. So maybe some people are getting some of what they're entitled to. A number of people that I know, they're years in the pipeline of still trying to get entitlements. That's probably the right word that I'm trying to look for. We had recruitment a couple of weeks ago, bro, and the amount of people applying who'd had their jobs replaced by AI was crazy. Yeah, I think, yeah, who knows where we're going to be in another 5, 10 years, 15 years time. With regards to the AI space, things are just, yeah, massively moving, massively fast, eh? And it's probably a lot of good in that sort of thing, like people able to do a lot of things themselves, I suppose, and create their AI agents. Maybe that's something I should look into. I haven't looked into that, but who knows? Don't worry, my father is going to wipe most of the current AI. Yeah, whatever. Whatever, Lumina Lovecraft. You bloody twat. Oh, it's this. And think, here we are up to the last part, and just think about and just think Labor pretend to want to do the right thing and fix the cost of living. Kiwi Build, for example, if it had been successful and built 100,000 homes, which it didn't, it built less than 2,000. But even if it was completely successful, we would still have gone backwards, as Labor had over 160k mass immigration per year. They always plan to push your rent up. They always plan for the massive harm that a housing crisis did to people, to families, while pretending to be the ones trying to fix it. They could have done literally nothing else but slow immigration, and it would have helped. Well, I have spoken about that. I don't think we're going to be in a worse situation if we put a pause on immigration for a bit. Sort out the election, sort out the policies, sort out the housing, sort out the homeless, sort out the blanket and defence stuff, the healthcare system, education system, etc., etc. Sort out the blanket sadness and the corruption and the blanket retards and some of the policing environments that are doing stupid stuff with their work devices as well. On top of that, um, yeah, there's pressing pause and just looking to sort out, what's the saying? Sort out your own backyard first. before looking to go elsewhere is probably pertinent to our case here in Aotearoa at this stage. Probably pertinent to a lot of places, I would imagine. We can never forget Labour National Act are traitors. Our biggest strength was our low population. Righto, Boiler House. Right, let's give you a heart. There you go. And I've read through your stuff and then spoken a bit about it with regards to what did you say? Yeah, because what do you think? There you go. That's what I think. I'm not racist. New Zealand is multicultural society. Hallelujah. NZ reggae. Okay, let's give you a heart as well. You care about their society. What background are you? Nick B839. I don't know who you're talking to. You care about their society. What background are you? Are you talking about me? Well, I'm mixed heritage. New Zealand Māori, probably got some Pākehā in there somewhere. And my father, as far as he knows, his dad was African American or had African American heritage. So who knows? Maybe I need to do one of those DNA tests or whatever the blinking family tree thing, which gives apparent percentages of your bloodline and where you come from. But I don't actually know what you're talking about, Nick B. Or who you're talking to. I assume you're talking to me. Oh, bloody hell. Sorry, the chat is going again. Where are we up to? Recruitment. Read that twat Lumina Lovecrafts one. Your talk is laughing as well at that blinking. No idea. Rabaki, we had plenty of electricity. Gas generators aren't running anymore because they shut down the wells of Taranaki while importing more people to use less supply. These guys aren't smart. Lumina, whatever that is. JC, anything that isn't a physical job, AI will take first. I can see laws being introduced to protect people's jobs, though. Yeah, I don't know, Myso, unless money starts coming into the picture again, which seems to be a significant draw card for our politicians that are supposed to be making these policies in the best interests of its citizens and the people. Harvest. Hey, bro, this government has implemented DEI to, giving employment to immigrants over Kiwis. This affected me personally when I was in between jobs last year. Wow, crazy. Lumina Lovecraft, respect with those hands. Thank you hands or prayer hands, whatever they're called. Jazz Dog, the same nuclear power plants and submarines can be used on land to power towns, etc. Small nuclear power plants have never failed. Dopey, excessive idiocy. Lumina Lovecraft. Yeah, bloody little twat, aren't you? Robert Kiwi, here's a citizen. Is he a citizen? Problem with nuclear power plants is not money to fleece off people. I could pick national, it would likely help me more, but the way of the is to help all. Shut up, man. Yep. Hey, actually, you're good for the algorithm, so stick around, keep whacking in your comments, Lumina, Lincoln, twat stain. Commander Nov, when I was in NZ, stayed in a lot of Airbnbs that were just regular families renting rooms in their house to tourists. Yep, which I thought was a great way to make some income for those who have spare rooms. Yeah, that's a cool point, Commander Nov. Good to have you join in on the comments here, mate. Yeah, that's an interesting point, and I think that's smart. For people that want to do that, and finding ways. Was it creative ways to generate income? Bloody hell. I'll leave Lumina Lovecraft's comments there. Other people can read that idiot's comments. Because Lumina wants to continue chatting away, so go for it, Lumina. What's this? David Buck. Only citizens should be allowed to vote. There should be no path to residency for migrant workers. They should leave at the end of their work period and to reapply and have to reapply for residency from outside NZ. Bring back the old point system. Okay, I don't know what the old point system was, but I have had somebody comment before about, I think they had to be in a skilled or a needed area job and they had to have at least 200 points or something. I can't remember the rest of the comment that they shared. So a lot of the comments that we're looking at now that I'm going through and just putting a heart next to, just so that they can be removed out of the unresponded comments. That's one of the comments that I'd read before from somebody. But yeah, there's been heaps. Can someone please explain why these male leaders need to cuddle? What happened to a handshake? I'm a Kiwi living in convict land, and I thought I've read this one. Feels like I've read this one before. And mate, they have a real taxi Uber driver problem. I've worked with Indian guys in a job at the Port of Brisbane. I taught them the job, but in all honesty, I'm not a fan. I had a Maori grandfather from Takahiwai, so I'm not racist. Well, I don't know if having a Maori grandfather means that you're not racist, but yeah, thanks for stopping by and commenting. I'm not saying you're racist, by the way. I'm just saying I don't know uh, if that would be a suitable justification for people reading the comment. But I'd say you probably don't care. At D.A 2500. What do we got here? Do we have to read them? No, you don't have to. Super. Yeah, hard case, Jazz Dog. Lovecraft is AI or a child. Yeah, most probably. Phil Mills, we are letting people who can't be trusted into a country. New Zealand, where our systems are trust and merit based, we are going to be up SHIT Street. Yeah, I don't know. Again, everybody's got their own opinions and thoughts. I think it's a big call to say that all immigrants can't be trusted. You know, there's bad apples in every bunch, regardless of where people come from. So, but yep, the video that I did is New Zealand becoming India clearly stirred up a lot of thoughts from people and or bots talking. What have we got here? Brainwave Studios 21. About to go on a bit of a spiel, so bear with me. Would love to see you react to this, Joe. As a Kiwi Indian, it's like I'm in a bit of a pickle mentally. Came here when I was 3 or 4 years old. Dad works a skilled IT job that no one in New Zealand was filling, hence we immigrated. I'm still pretty young in my early 20s, yep. So I'll share my viewpoint for what it's worth. Cool. All right. Brainwave Studio. For starters, no non-citizens should be able to vote. Nice. So this is coming from Kiwi Indian. For starters, no non-citizen should be able to vote. That's a no-brainer. And finding out that non-citizens could vote was pretty surprising to me or to this person. I think the immigration is happening at a rate too rapid. When I grew up, being Indian was not that common. My neighborhood was 90% white, and I've seen more Indian people coming in, but that isn't a problem. And I've seen, what are you saying? I think immigration is happening at a rate too rapid. Okay, so it sounds like you've seen slow it down or put a pause, which is what I've shared a few times on different lives. When I grew up, being Indian was not that common. My neighborhood was 90% white, and I've seen more Indian people coming in, but that isn't a problem. I've never experienced outright racism in NZ. Can't say that I have personally either. Probably because I grew up privileged and have mates from all walks of life. Of all walks of life, you said. I said. My family assimilated growing up. Um, I'd walk about barefoot, eat ice cream every day. Heck, my dad and I haven't missed watching an All Blacks game in damn near 15 years, including the ones in South Africa at 3:30 a.m. I even played rugby in high school and was literally the only Indian bloke given in every game. Given in every game I played. Right. The problem is the white people who just can't see past my skin color in general and have the white superiority complex, even though my family probably contributes more tax than 90% of us Kiwis in general. Luckily, I've never experienced this in real life and only see the sentiment online. Okay, I was going to say, sounds like when you're saying that, the white people who just can't see past my skin color in general, I was going to say, well, earlier you said you hadn't experienced racism, but now as I read that, it seems like you are or you have, but sounds like you haven't. You're saying here, luckily, I've never experienced this in real life, only see the sentiment online. Okay, so that's your take there. Oh, bloody hell. Chat's going again. It's just probably Lumina Lovecraft. Calling him your Maori grandfather is kind of racist. If he's not a citizen, F him. It's better to survive the world. This is very cute. You're safe then. You sound pretty mindless. Yeah, I just skip past Lumina Lovecraft's comments. People can read that twat's blinking comments themselves. Where are we? Da-da. Where do I get up to sentiment? Now, the flip side problem to this is the people that come to New Zealand and want to live like they are still in India, which I never got. That's a good point. So, if there are, whoever those immigrants are that are coming over that want to live as though they're back in the country that they've wanted to, I presume, get away from, that is an issue if that's the case. My family came here with the intention of being Kiwi, and these sorts of people is what ruins the rep for people like me. There you go. I think that's a fair and valid point. Like I've shared in other videos, I don't think in any way, shape, or form that it's every immigrant, regardless of where they come from. This person here is speaking from their Indian heritage, and they refer to themselves as a Kiwi Indian or Indian Kiwi, Kiwi Indian, Kiwi Indian. And yeah, it is can be seen a lot of times people that ruin it for others, and that's the same in any sort of organization, let alone immigration situation. Da, da, da. Like me, the way I see it, the reason I never experienced racism, it is the way I behave. I'm proud to be a Kiwi and have the Kiwi mindset and values. Good for you. I believe the answer to this is you should judge everyone individually on the basis of their actions and not on stereotypes, but I admit the stereotypes are always based on an element of truth. So, really nice as I read this, fair and measured comment from this person. So, was it Brainwaves? Brainwave Studio 21? Studios 21? Cheers, bro, so far for what I've read here on yours. I think it'd be hard to, we've got here, judge everyone individually. I think that's you'd like to, and no, actually, I think that should be done. Like that's a fair and valid point. Base each individual on their merits and the things that they do, that they bring, rather than just stereotyping everybody else. But yeah, the element of truth to stereotypes, yeah, I think that's also true and a fair and dare I say accurate comment. But yeah, trying to find and get to the crux of what we do, like again, for at the risk of sounding like a broken record, putting a pause on immigration, I don't think is going to be detrimental to our country. Not for 12 months. I don't even think it would be detrimental putting a pause on immigration for the next 24 months, to be quite honest. So, not unless there's been some blinking secret handshake combination, Lincoln discussions and agreements and monies exchanging hands for certain things to continue as per normal, as per what they are now. I don't want to see New Zealand turn into India. There's already 1.5 billion Indian people and a nation of them. I feel the worst for the Maori people because this is the only land they have and they should protect it. But I also feel conflicted about people like me, people that are proud to call themselves a Kiwi and moved for a better life and assimilated. But that's the problem. People aren't assimilating anymore because we are importing too many of them. And yeah, like I said and have said in this live, I don't think people are going to assimilate in 12 months' time, in 24 months' time, in 3 years' time. Don't get me wrong, there may be some that might, but I think that journey and that process, like with anything, takes time. And if a New Zealand citizen, New Zealand born individual cannot vote until they're 18 years of age, which has essentially been here for 18 years, then I don't think making it so that only citizens can vote in New Zealand and you can only become a citizen after you've been here for say 7. I'm more inclined to go 7 to 10 years now rather than saying 5 years. But 5 years would be a start, but probably more like 7 to 10 years, then I think that's a good thing. Especially when it comes to policy and things that are going to impact short term, medium term, long term, and the people within that come to that country. Anyway, people, the problem aren't, but that's the problem. People aren't assimilating anymore because we're importing too many. Oh, sorry, I already read that. I'm not ashamed of my culture, as you shouldn't be. I don't think anybody should, whether they are, regardless of where they come from. Maintain your proud cultural heritage, your roots, and that sort of stuff. I'm proud of my Indian heritage, awesome, but I realize that I am a New Zealander first. That's cool. Like to me, I could be wrong here, but to me, that's somebody that sounds like, reads like they have assimilated. And the only reason that they wouldn't be assimilated would be from an outside person's perspective, looking at them or talking to them and then making a judgment going, you're not a Kiwi. Probably they would make that decision based on how they view that person or what the person looks like. But as I read this, like that's huge. Like, and again, it could just be words, but why take the time to come onto my little channel and write out this if this isn't how this person genuinely feels? So shout out again to at Brainwave Studios 21 coming on here and sharing your perspective. Great that you're proud of your Indian heritage and culture. Um, but as you've said here, like you're a New Zealander first, which is pretty awesome to read in terms of backing up what you've said so far in your commentary about assimilating and taking on board the values of the place that you've moved to. Again, in your wording that you've shared here, that your family moved to this country for a better life from where they were. I miss home in Wellington, where I grew up, as I'm now in Australia pursuing an engineering career. Whew, clever cookie, I could only pursue here. Um, as I'm now in Oz pursuing an engineering career, I could only pursue here. Looking forward to coming back home one day for retirement. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so you're in Australia at the moment, pursuing and going after your career. Awesome. At the end of the day, Joe, my life is great. That's great to hear. I feel lucky and privileged to have grown up in New Zealand and call it home. I wouldn't change it for the world, even if some people would see me and judge me and judge me on the basis of my skin color, which I cannot blame due to stereotypes. What a cool comment. What's this? Shadow Band. Who do you play cricket with in the weekends? Shadow Band. It's a cool comment from Brainwave Studios. Thanks for stopping by. Is that to me? I think he's replied to Brainwave Studios one. There is no white superiority in New Zealand. Yeah, I'd be surprised. This is from Onan, Onan, Onan. Whites have no rights in New Zealand. Oh, come on, man. Who's this bloody ball bag? Don't even have to read much further into it and can already tell this guy's a blinking twat. Started off all right because I agree with that. There is no white superiority in New Zealand. I don't think there is. Whites have no rights in New Zealand. And then he just went, bah, bah. Plenty of muddy supremacists, though. As to immigrants, too many, too fast, and too many from, what's this? Inimical cultures, and the vast majority are in New Zealand to take over. Indian SHITs are some of the worst. Many state it openly in print and to a Kiwi's face. When Indians get into a business, they work to get friends and relatives hired, and Kiwis forced out. No Indian in a hiring position will hire any non-Indian. Yeah, I think I'll just refresh this page. As those that comment on other people's things, I don't think I need to. I think maybe they disappear if I hit refresh. Well, not disappear. They stay in the comments, but I want to say, don't show up. Oh, look at this. Here's this twat again. This fella's been going hundies, I think, all day and over the last few days on videos of mine at h.e. I think I put it at the start of the comments on this one. Oh, sorry, hang on. Where are we? Rubber Kiwi. If someone's a Kiwi, the moment they open their mouth, we don't look like anything in particular. We come in all colors of the rainbow. Side note, Joe, ABs versus Sharks tomorrow morning. Ma'anonu is coming off the bench for the Sharks. I hope he bumps off a few of the boys. I think Geordie Barrett is opposite him. No doubt Ma'a's going to be running straight at a few of the boys, trying to bump off a few. He probably will bump off a few as well. But yeah, that should be good. What time is it? Sharks tomorrow morning, probably 3 o'clock or 3:30 or something in the morning, I'd imagine. I won't see it until I see the highlights. I'm good with the first floor, thanks, especially after Christchurch. Up you go, though. Enjoy your higher plane. We'll miss you. Oh, 5 a.m. Okay, 5 a.m. to get. Oh, that's all right then. Should be cooling down. Maybe I can cool down earlier. Cooling down in the morning session and then get cleaned up. Oh, but mind you, I'll still be waiting to see the highlights anyway because I don't have Sky. So yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I won't need to shorten anything. Yeah. Anyway, back to this ball bag. At Peter John they 6295. A big stick up the backside. Remember the bungee pits? Yeah, this fella's up there with Lumina Lovecraft. So let's. What did I say to this person, bro? You're good for that. Let's just put laughing faces there. There's this twat. All he's good for is the algorithm. Why are people so casually accepting the invasion and conquering of your own country? Don't want to be called names. I don't know, New Zealand reggae. Who's this? A glutinous goblin. E. Good for you. Oh, Schmeagol there. Far out. Of course, we are turning into India. We already are. Are you guys that naive not to see? Come and see me and let's have a tour. Let's start with my street. Bro, just do a vlog. This at URIARAU. Bro, just do a vlog and put it up on YouTube. If you're wanting to, if you're prepared to run a tour, just do your own little vlog, cuzzy, and then post it up. What's this? Bugger, we'll just call them. I travel throughout Otago and Canterbury weekly. In the past 5 years, I cannot remember a single dairy, bottle store, Pizza Hut, Domino's, or small town gas station that I have visited that was not owned/run by Indians. In my small Otago town, every single one of them are Indian owned, and in most cases, they have family that are working for them, with many openly stating they are overstayers. We are doomed. Well, that's interesting. I mean, it's true. It's true that there are a lot of Indians that own, like I can go out here on the street on Moorspite Avenue, the dairy up there, the Waitangiroa shopping centre up here, can head down further to Cannons Creek, all the shops in there, including the petrol station. Actually, probably the BP petrol station over in Whitfords. I don't know if that's run by Indians. I've seen mostly on, say, uh, white people and Maoris in there. So that's what I've seen in that particular petrol station. Maybe it's just been the times that I've been. I haven't been there for quite a while, but who knows? Well, mind you, you haven't mentioned. Oh no, you have mentioned gas stations. So who knows? Overstayers, we are doomed. Yeah, well, I don't know if that's the case. I mean, what do people do? Like, if you come across people, regardless of ethnicity, Samoan, Chinese, Japanese, Indian, whatever, and if you heard or know of, and people are saying that there's overstayers, so illegal immigrants, in other words, what do you do? Do you report it? I don't think I've ever had a conversation with anyone, and I don't think I know of anyone in NZ or Australia that has openly said, at least to me, I'm an overstayer, and or members of my family are overstayers. What would you do? What do you do? Uh, Even if they're not, let's say maybe they're not family members or friends, maybe it's just randomly people. It seems like this person, old bugger here, is talking with people that openly tell him, as a stranger, I presume, that they got overstayers staying there. Do you report that? Like, or do you just go, roll your eyes and go, oh, bloody hell, they're taking over? I don't know. Be interested. Let's give you a heart anyway, stopping by. Tool 2X Talivai. I don't know if that's if this is an islander or what. I only see this stuff online. In the real world, most I only see the stuff online. In the real world, most don't care when there's a cost of living crisis. And these chaps are laughable. What prime minister are we on in the UK now? when you don't make stuff, when you don't make stuff in your country, this is the result. Cheaper labor for what? Some convoluted trade deal. Nothing new. Yeah, who knows, eh? Edward with two D's. Once the Indian migrants work their way into politics, it'll be like the Gupta family in South Africa. Probably. Um, Slowly but surely, chipping away. Oh, Holy heck, just seen this. Haven't watched an AB's game since the World Cup in '07. Bring back Buck and Cully. Bro, why the heck would people come up and openly say they are overstayers? Yeah, it just seems weird to me. I've never had anybody come up and say anything like that to me. Paper, please. Jazz Dog, friend at work went on holiday to NZ earlier this year and said they didn't hear or see many Kiwis. Yeah, I think the same can be said about with some of the links that I've been sent on Instagram, places that people have been going to Italy. They're wanting to see and expecting to see Italian people and not seeing very little or seeing very little Italian people, I should say. Maybe it's the same here in NZ. Only because we avoid tourists like the plague. Cheers, dog. You people are weird. Hard case. I think that probably the tourists may look to avoid us too. Funny, funny. All right. Oh, let's. Somebody else has had a lot to say in regards to Edward's comment. They are in control of public services already, from the phones to who gets the contract. It's a real concern. Try ringing or visiting your local council or IRD or ACC, etc. Well, probably a lot of truth to that. The same in Australia. Once they get in, it's only Indian hires. The Australian NDIS is a pot of gold being sucked dry by crafty Indians. Yeah, the National Disability Insurance Scheme. That's a multi-billion-dollar blinking ATM machine for a number of people. I wouldn't say it's just Indians. Organized crime have definitely well and truly infiltrated that blinking loophole with regards to the National Disability Insurance Scheme in Australia. And no doubt some other people in positions of authority that probably knew of and know of that stuff happening are probably getting some backhand deals too. What do we got here? Bernie Finn. Look at Britain. Muslim MP wants first cousin marriage. Huh? Because acceptable in his culture. That's just trucking ridiculous. A Muslim MP wants first cousin marriage because it's acceptable in his culture. I haven't heard of that, but that's just crazy if that's the case. His culture, not British culture. His culture in not British is not British, I guess is what you're saying. This will happen here. English must be the official language, or we could end up with multiples. Who would you want to be in hospital and no one know the surgeon is saying about the patient treatment? But holy heck, bro, you're blinking. Your wording in here is worse than my reading. What language used in an emergency? Thank you, Nick. I understand where you're coming from. Truck and elbow. Let's give you a heart there for the effort that you've gone into and putting that in. Britain's problem is it's no longer an empire, and now they have to pay the bills with what they have, which is pretty much nothing. You have to learn to eat and speak, mate, if you want to survive. Maybe learn to type and write as well, maybe. Eat and speak curry. They have nothing to pay for. Now go crawl back under your rock. That's from YouTube censors comments. Kiwi bloke, it's like Asian over the banking sector of pharmacies. Go into any bank or pharmacy, it's all Asians. You need a translator for some. Don't know, haven't been going into banking places of business or pharmacies. Shadow banned. They'd be fine if they weren't paying billions for illegal migrants. Years ago, it was already £8 million a day just for the motels, not including the food, translators, healthcare, phones, navy time, shepherding boats, transport, etc. Or navy time shepherding boats. Whew. Who knows? Hugh Roberts. Humpty Luxon made a kamikaze deal. New Zealand's birth rate is dropping big time. I'm voting for Winston one last time. Dear God, we better start praying for common sense. Okay. Well, there you go. I think I've read a few comments from people saying that they're voting for old New Zealand first. Is that Winston Peters? I think that's the one. We are screwed if we don't speak with our vote. NZ Riga, it doesn't really matter what we think morally about anything. The tangible reality is that New Zealand is changing racially. Indian, Asian, African, Middle Eastern, and the change is rapid and global. Under undemocratic invasion of Western nations against the will of the citizenry. We no longer live in democracies. Jeez, holy heck. Yes to all. Our only hope is to unite as a country and as a people. We built and defended this country. Let's stop the rich elites, the rich elite idiots, from giving it away. Vote Winston and the team of New Zealand. Oh, there we go. New Zealand first. Another Winston Peters voter. Labour and National are a uni party. Both signed away New Zealand. No, we are not racist for pointing out a major concern to New Zealand. Look at Fiji. Great to see another of your down to earth videos. Keep up the great work. Oh, thanks for the comment there. Kiwi Bloke Ford V8666. Heart there on that comment as well. Did I heart the other ones? Yeah, I have. We'll leave those there. Winnie has been very much a part of the current political situation we find ourselves in now. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been following the New Zealand politics for a while, but I assume, wasn't he referred to as a kingmaker at one stage or another, or prime minister maker, withholding the swing, or was it a swing vote? I don't know, something like that. Anyway, I think I heard that on some blinking article on a video at some point. And the solution to a lot as well, give credit where it's due. Okay, these fellas having their own conversation about old Winston. I think because I've hearted that, I don't think I need to heart any of these other ones. You forgot actors for mass immigration is for mass migration too, and signed the Indian Free Trade Agreement. Credit is due though. Remind me in 10 years what he's done since now. Yes, seems there is no one to vote for now. At least Winston speaks out about immigration. Well, I think that's if that's all he's speaking out about, and I don't know what else Winston Peters has been speaking out about, but I think it is part of his portfolio. Good on him for speaking out about one of the areas of his responsibility, that being immigration, from what I can tell from what I've had a look at. But there is a lot more to, not that I'm any expert on it, by the way, but there's a lot more to governing a country and running it well and having the best interests of its people and the families at heart than just immigration. Immigration is one small piece of it. The policymakers in regards to all of those things need to be doing a better job. And I don't pretend to have the answers, but that's where, again, I think putting a pause on something like immigration could potentially help stem the tide and help get a better handle on, okay, our unemployment is the highest it's ever been. These are our latest numbers. What is good, though, according to Potato Head Luxon, is that we've created 13,000 new jobs, but that doesn't even blink, and it's not even 10% of, it's probably not even 5% of what the current unemployment situation is for NZ. So, well, it could be wrong, maybe it is, but there's big issues which will then likely flow onto other things. Cost of living with unemployment, with immigration, surely that's going to have a knock-on effect to supply and demand and housing. The health care and stuff strain that they may put onto people, the cost of living we've already spoken about anyway, which is well and truly documented, and people struggling in many different ways, which leads to the homelessness factor. There's a lot of stuff in regards to the situation for NZ. We're probably just very lucky that we are quite isolated and that we are surrounded by a heck of a lot of water, that it's not as easy. People can't just blink and swim across like what's happened in Ceuta in a number of cases to get to our country. Doesn't mean that it will stop the illegal importation or immigration of people, of foreigners, but it probably could be a heck of a lot worse, and likely would be a heck of a lot worse if we had borders within our country with other places nearby, like in the UK and that sort of thing. Anywho, where are we? How long has this been? Oh, only an hour 20 minutes. Sorry, I need to come back to Paper Please. Friend at work went on holiday, read that only because we avoid read that. I say Kiwis, you can pay to see them in the Queenstown Kiwi Park. There you go. Maybe that's a business idea, Commander Nob. Thanks for that. Jazz Dog's got a laughing face, I assume, to that. Visited a few places in Rotorua, which were run, possibly also owned by Māori staff. Lots of sharing of their culture and stories, which was awesome to learn about and great to see. That's cool, Commander Nob. Where were those places? You didn't go to the Mariahs, did you? Could be. If you went to the Mariah, that's probably going to be run and owned by, dare I say, some Maori people. Not full-blooded Maori, because there are no full-blooded Maori left. But yeah, I'd be interested to know where you went to, visit a few places in Rotorua, in terms of those places in Rotorua itself, possibly owned by Maori staff, Rubber Kiwi, and that's great if there is too. Shame about the smell. Bro, do these dudes that comment ever leave their homes? All my life, I've never spoken with the pharmacist. They just look at the prescription and give you your SHIT. Crack up. Yep, couldn't escape the smell of farts everywhere we went. Yep, makes it a bit easier when you let one slip though, and then you go, oh man, bloody the blinking, it's the sulfur here in Rotorua. That's why. Jazz Dog message retracted. Mum can't make their eggs on toast if they leave. Plus, she changed the locks last time they went to buy milk. Rubber Q, I'll call the crazy dude. Must have ascended. Please don't watch me showering from your higher plane. Luminal. I charge for that show. Sir Charles James Napier and the gallows. Sati was Indian culture, and Napier built gallows next to funeral. Look it up. Some cultures are not good. Oh yeah, no doubt some cultures are not good. Visited Hell's Gate, one of the hot pools. Oh, okay. Hell's Gate. Don't think I've been there. Cheers, Commander Nov. Good. Glad you had, well, hopefully you had a good time anyway, here in NZ and on your trip around. The traps. Viti Gamer, India has way too many people. They are probably undercounting their population. And so happy to export a couple of 100 million to the rest of the world. I do think countries in Oceania should have immigration limits to large population centers like China or India. That could be another piece or consideration for conversation. This person, Noah knows nothing. 100%, that's real preservation of diversity on our planet, not wiping out our little cultures. There you go. You got it. Oh, better give these a thumbs up. Did I miss? Oh no, that's on the chain. So I gave those. Let's refresh this. Let's see if that other twat has come back with comments. The one that I put in the comment earlier of this chat. Oh no, here we go. Damon Kingy. Holy cow. How honest, well spoken, and such a humble man is this guy. Well done, soldier. I don't know what to. Oh, okay, that's for that. Cheers for that comment. That's for an old video getting through both selections. NZ Reggae. India also includes Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and all Indian looking people outside of these countries. Once you put a price on land, it gets inherited by the most economically efficient, productive people. Okay, NZ Reggae again. He's got lots to say as well. Maybe these hundreds of comments maybe it's just predominantly by a handful of people. Maybe, I don't know. Kim Birch. Historically speaking, it was always the monarchs who started all the wars for land and riches. The serfs were forced to fight for their overlords and barons. They didn't gain anything but death and injury. Nowadays, the monarchs have been replaced by psychopathic presidents like Putin and Trump, yet they still fight for land and wealth. Not much has changed. Okay, let's just give you a heart on there, Kim Birch. Maddo, I think Indians mainly go to New Zealand to enter Australia. Yep, I have heard that before as well. This person's got, then you think wrong. Albo won't like them upsetting his Islamic migrant voters. Yeah. Okay, well, Indians must be the only group living in New Zealand that doesn't want to migrate to Australia. Maybe some, but not all. So why are we flooded with so many and more arriving? I think what Maddo is probably talking about um, is what he's mentioned in the first comment, potentially, and I don't think this is all Indians, right? I think the same could be said about a number of the island population as well. Samoans, Tongans, Cook Islands, Niueans. I think there's a number there in that cohort that could likely fit into what Maddo's talking about. People do use, and I do know some people that have mentioned that come to New Zealand because they want to get to Australia. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, if that's what they're wanting to do, and they're taking steps to help them be able to get to where they want to get to. Like, if that's where you want to go, then obviously you're going to take steps to try to get to where it is that you want to get to. But I don't think it's just uniquely Indian. Maybe because of the numbers and the population of the Indian demographics, or the population itself, because the numbers are so high. Maybe that's why it seems like that's the case. I don't know. I know I haven't been sitting there with a pace counter clicking every time I see an immigrant going through from whatever nationality or ethnicity crossing the border, going into or clearing customs and going into another country. Um, but there's probably some truth to what Maddo's talking about, and maybe what they've observed. We do have, there's no denying, we've got a large Indian population in New Zealand. If that's made up of, what did I read earlier? Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, etc., etc. If you then look at including Fijian Indians and whatever else, that's probably all part of the makeup as well. So, anywho, what's this? Concerned Aussie. Come on, us Anzacs have got to fight like never before for our homelands. By the way, the enemy is our corrupt government or the traitors within it. Yeah, probably very true. You fought for this the last time. Why are you complaining? QQ. You fought for this the last time. What do you mean by fought for this the last time? Not sure what you mean. Oh, yeah, there you go. Concerned Aussie has asked him, what are you talking about? Uh, big, big Rob NZ. NZ will be an Indo Asian country in less than 10 years. Our time is rapidly coming to an end. Very well, maybe, as is their plan. You're right, Kiwis can't afford to have children. Oh, geez, I don't know. It's probably not stopping people from having children, or maybe it is. I don't know. There are already over 400,000 Indians and over 330,000 Indian immigrants in New Zealand. New Zealand's cultural identity is diminishing rapidly. Things need to slow down for the country to catch up. Yeah, possibly. Like, again, why I say I don't think there's anything wrong with putting a pause on immigration, but who knows? Let's see what happens. What's old Uncle Winston going to do about it? What's his plans with regards to, aside from just changing? I think from what I've read, he's wanting to change it so that only citizens can vote, which gets a tick in the box from me. Cool. What else is he proposing to help stem the tide, to potentially look at a reset and, yeah, I don't know, dare I say, try and get things back on track. It's not just immigration that needs to be put back on track. There's a whole bunch of things here with regards to our little country. And immigration is just one of those things. Well, it's clearly the one that sparked and triggered a whole bunch of comments on this particular video, and in some of the lives. Also, Orake Korako, bit out of Rotorua itself, watched a geyser. Is that how you say it? Geyser erupt, which a Maori girl sung a traditional song over. Super cool moment. Oh, that's cool. Cool, you got to see all of that stuff, and I suppose the timing of all those things commanding of. Jazz Dog, my neighbor, knocked on my door at 3 a.m. Luckily, I was still up playing my drums. They're not all Indians. There's a dozen countries in the region that share ethnic similarities. Bangladesh, the Indians are the ones who speak enough English to tell us where they're from. Three nuts, g'day Joe, and our fellow patriot Kiwis. I hope you're following Joe's work out does daily, as the time will come when Aussies and Kiwis will have to join together to take our countries back. There you go, three nuts X3. Look at that, eh? Bro, honestly, we need to bring back plastic straws. Bro, tell me about it. Here we go. Like even the lollipops, the chupa chups, this blinking thick cardboard Cardboard rubbish is no good. Like, especially when you're just wanting to suck on the lollipop, you could do that with the plastic sticks. First world problems, people. Bring back plastic lollipop sticks, just like the plastic straws that Talk 5018 has got or has put down. Let's refresh this, see what else, see if that clears a bunch of other comments. What's the Stuart McAdam? I managed just 5 minutes of exercise, Von Timsky, at the gym this morning with two 20 kg dumbbells. Mad respect to all the lads who made it through 24 hours of it. Cheers for stopping by and sharing that comment, Stuart. Rubber Kiwi, we need to remove warning labels, bring back Gen X natural selection. I don't know. New Zealand is a little country for sure. Still find it crazy that the entire population of the country is roughly the size of one city in Australia. Yeah, yeah. It always makes me smile when I think of things like that as well, Commander Nov. It's yeah, pretty crazy, eh? Our entire population can fit into one city in another country. Hard case. Where are we? NZ Reggae, he's on here again. There still are countries in the world that would consider this kind of influx of foreigners an invasion, which would justify a military response. Western nations have the natives apologizing for maybe seeming racist, just raising the topic. Apologizing for maybe seeming racist, just raising the topic. We are finished. Yeah, probably it lines up with some of the other comments that I've read in here in terms of Western nations being labeled or looked at as being racist or Islamophobic or having whatever phobia if they're looking to deport people. Bloody hell. Australia and dare I say New Zealand and probably the UK are struggling to deport blinking sexual offenders that come from another country. How trucking ridiculous is that? I think I read, I think it was somebody in Australia, because the lawyers put forward for this person that they might face or they would suffer undue hardship or some rubbish. It's like, bro, you forfeited your right to have a free ride or to enjoy the freedoms that you've enjoyed in Australia the moment you decided to blink and rape a child, a teenager. So you should 100% be having hard times, and you shouldn't be having hard times. You should just be shot. Like, again, that death penalty would be a godsend for those that believe in God anyway. Not that I do, but I think I use that term because I think people know what I mean by it. That would be a massive blessing to the community, and dare I say, to the family and to the victims. Really couldn't give a rat's backside about that criminals offending behavior to their family themselves. Maybe they might think it's a relief as well. Don't have to be associated with that blinking twat. Anyway, where did that come from? Oh yeah, it's just around this racist topic from NZ Reggae, and yeah, we can't even sort out what's happening in our own places. Snowy in cow. Yes, we need only to look back at the Fijian experience to see what happens and remember that the locals did. Sure. Okay, let's give that a heart. Funny as Indian were sent by the crown, as the Fijian were too lazy to farm the land and build businesses. They could be tenants but never buy to own. Interesting. Now they sell resorts, islands to Asian elites so their people can be employed. The coup threatened, raped, assaulted Indians when they tried to leave. The greedy Fijian government wouldn't allow you to take your money out the banks due to fear of financial collapse. Third world logic only breeds third world economics. Nancy Drew. Nancy Drew? Is that a TV program? Nancy Drew. Anyway, that's their comments and stuff on there. Down under reality. Absolutely. Fiji is a prime example, although they cope extremely well and are a very accepting and happy race. My favorite country on the planet. Just one example of Britain's greed and empire building behavior and cut and run syndrome. As I have said, Fiji is an exception, and I'm confident it will stay that way. Other countries, I feel, certainly will not. Yeah, right, eh? There's lots of comments on Snowy's one, so I've hearted Snowy's one, so won't worry about going through and hearting all those other ones. Super Von Killer. I should not be able to vote in New Zealand without moving there and earning full citizenship, period. Mass migration has been weaponized. All you need to do is look at the NGOs and the funding to see an organized effort. more than a racial aspect. In my opinion, it's the cultural aspect, as it seems to be the Western mindset countries with a base belief in individual liberty, freedom of will, representative forms of government in which public servants are to convey and represent the will of the people. These are the nations under attack. Many of the people incentivized come from cultures where people are seen as servants of the system, if seen by those in authority at all. Because they are brought in mass, there is no time for assimilation. Yeah, like that's what I was talking about earlier. To other comments, can't tell me people are going to assimilate to the culture and to the country that they've migrated to in 12 months' time. Like they're just not. They're going to vote, take advantage of the system, and vote for things that are going to probably steer things more in their favor, whether that means bringing more of their loved ones and family members over, whether that means getting opportunities to get into work, etc., because there's less in terms of point systems, or if there's a point system at all. People are going to use that to their advantage, which, you know, dare I say, most people would look to use systems and processes to their advantage. What do we got here? Assimilation, thus creating conflict with the native populations and a breaking strain on social benefits, healthcare, housing, job markets, etc. Mass immigration has been weaponized. That's a fact. It is structured, directed, well funded, and has a very specific target list. The question, by whom and what is the end goal? Some really good points in there. Can't tell me that the immigration from the Moroccans into Ceuta in Spain wasn't a weaponized attack, wasn't coordinated, wasn't organized, wasn't funded. You got police there blocking traffic and watching the back of this truck open, and then just watching all the people stream off, and the police just guiding them, probably telling them, good work, go get it, boys. So there's definitely stuff happening and being coordinated by people in order for this sort of migration stuff to happen. Sorry for the rant, no need to apologize, but in the US, we've been very hard hit with this. The high school in my town 20 years ago was probably 95% American kids, all races. Today, probably 75% foreign born or first gen born to foreign parents. Drastic change in a very short period of time. Yeah, that's true. Like I've heard Jake Mozzie was on here and spoken about Spot the Aussie. In Australia, like I'm very familiar with that as well. Probably be the same here in NZ. Spot the Kiwi, spot the Maori, spot the Hori, spot the Blinken, whatever you want to call it. Here in NZ, let's give that a heart there for Super Von Killer's comment. Sorry, I've missed Blinken comments again. It looks like we're a small LA suburb, but there's people. But their people don't beat the world at everything they do. Sometimes small is good. 100% agree with Rubber Kiwi. Stuart, New Zealand first, might as well rebrand to Dad's Army. Wise enough to spot a threat, too old, decrepit, and useless to do anything about it. That has got to be one of the best descriptions I think I've read or comments in a while. New Zealand first, might as well rebrand to Dad's Army. Maybe I should start a political party called Dad's Army. Wise enough to spot a threat, too old, decrepit, and useless to do anything about it. Oh man, that's gold. I like that one. Cheers, Stuart McAdam. Rubber Kiwi, well, of course you do, Commander. We know the real reason you don't let enlisted into your ablutions, little fella. Well, those two must be having their own conversation about something. Anyway, where are we? Let me pause this. That's an hour 42. I'm going to share, well, not share, but I'm going to talk about another topic. Yeah, topic. That's what we'll call it. That popped up. Oh, actually, let me just refresh that. Topic that popped up in Instagram. Maybe I should do a separate video. Maybe I will do a separate video on it. Person that is a kind follower of the channel sent through something. I won't share the screen, but they've got here. I have a topic to consider for your next stream that pertains to Ceuta. If 60,000 military-aged men storm a nation's borders, lethal force would be justified to repel them, right? That's what it says here. Depending on what those countries, depending on what the country's border rules are. Like if you look at North Korea and South Korea, they would probably be, yep, lethal force, shoot everybody, detonate the claymores, and can take them out. Um, but in terms of that space there, lethal force would be justified. Again, depending on what that government has instated in terms of their laws, I would imagine. Again, I'm no expert in it. If I look at that from the perspective of being on that border, I don't even know what their border's set up like. It can't be that blinking protected if you've got 60,000 people just coming in. At the same time, if you're being overrun, use of lethal force, depending on what their rules are in that stage, if lethal force was an option, I would imagine that if there was actually security on that border in Spain, dishing out lethal force, if those were parts of their rules that they could use, I would imagine that that would deter a number of those 60,000 continuing to run forward and to breach and to invade the country. I'm pretty confident if lethal force was an option and being used, those people, whether they were swimming over or coming over like around the bend or whatever it was that they were doing to get into Ceuta, would see that and go, actually, um, I've got nothing but my clothes on me and maybe some money in their pocket. I'm going to pause at the very least, and or I'm going to turn around and go back. So I don't know that lethal force is one of the rules that they have to allow their border protection or whatever they call themselves there in Ceuta the ability to do that. But I'm definitely a fan of rubber rounds, rubber bullets, blanking or beanbag rounds, whatever they want to call them. But it seems like they had nothing set up. Whether that was coordinated as well, whether the Moroccan police, in coordination with some of the Spanish border patrol, were in cahoots in terms of people being paid money or whatever to allow and to potentially not be at their posts and or to not have sufficient staff, manpower, dare I say, to be there at the borders to try to prevent and deter that from happening. Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. But you would like to think that there should have been some sort of deterrent or prevention mechanism or authorities there at the border to try to prevent that from happening. But yeah, if you're not allowed to use lethal force, then it's probably not justified in terms of what you've got here. Lethal force would be justified to repel them, right? Yeah, I don't know. It comes down to the individual country's rules. It may come to that. Possibly what happens if they start bringing women and children as human shields? Yep. So, more to consider. Do we lay down our weapons and let them take the country, or is it unfortunate collateral? Great questions. Lots of, uh, what's the words? Food for thought and things that people that are in charge of and have governance over borders with other countries that are in close proximity like that should be and probably should consider discussing and talking about. Maybe they have, and maybe their rule is just let them in and then try to round them up and remove them later. I don't know what their rules are, but there's stuff in there that needs to be considered. Similarly to like the global war on terror with the Taliban and Al Qaeda using locals, um, actual locals that weren't fighters as part of or as human shields, to try to deter coalition forces from sending rounds in their way, and or calling in bombs into certain places. No one wants to kill kids. Yep. Well, you'd like to think that, but there are some bloody retards out there. What if that's your only option? Only option, I guess, again, is, dare I say, wargaming those types of potential scenarios applicable and relevant to certain areas. So that potentially may be, war games probably not the right term, um, but you know what I mean by when I'm using that. Coming up with different scenarios and situations that could potentially happen or that their people's borders and or countries could potentially face, and then having uh, a plan or a list of approaches to either try to de-escalate and or to escalate as and when the situation may arise depending on the threat. But I'd say it would be a big call to be using lethal force against what appeared to be, and I could be wrong, but what appeared to be unarmed albeit fighting age males, coming into the country. Hence why blinking beanbag rounds, rubber rounds, and the big blast water hose. Yeah, let's do it, and then reinforce that area. What sort of QRF is on call? What numbers do you have? If 60,000 can come through, what if next time it's 100,000 or double that number? So would the QRF response be able to handle that sort of response? What sort of reinforcements need to happen to the borders themselves? If people can just circumvent the fences and the gates and climb over and go around and swim across, like, what other measures and stuff need to be put in place to try to mitigate that or prevent stuff like that from happening again? So yeah, there'd be lots of no doubt, I would assume there'd be lots of discussions happening in and around that space. You'd like to think there would be anyway, but who knows? Da, da, da. Let's close that. Peter John, man, whatever that twat is at it again. Dun, dun, dun. Let's leave that. Where are we? 1 hour 50 minutes. Oh, sorry, did I miss some stuff here? New Zealand first, read that. Well, of course, you read that. Small things, rubber kiwi. Stuart McAdam, did you hear about the death of poor Nimal Persia? Yeah, Nims Persia on Broad Peak. Yep, I did. There's a live a little while ago where I spent a bit of time just sort of acknowledging that fellow, that legend, and the sad loss, sad day for for the SBS, for the SF community, but yeah, Nims Persia was SBS, Special Boat Service, not part of the SAS. But he did do, obviously, they have a combined UK SF selection, which two guys and SBS guys do it. And then once they get to a certain stage, then SBS guys head off to Poole, I think it is, and do what they do there. And the regiment guys are in Hereford. Rubber Kiwi, they were armed. Half a dozen citizens have been killed in Ceuta. Okay, they were armed. All right. They come over with arms, like was that guns armed or machetes armed? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. They're still weapons. Like you'd gladly want to take out anybody that's carrying arms, I would assume. But again, I don't know what Ceuta's laws were. Were they guns or were they machetes or both? Pistols? I don't know. Thanks for that heads up. Didn't know anything about the 60,000 being armed. Blades, as far as I know. Oh, right. Okay. So I'd assume machetes and knives and things like that. And yeah, like, got to be on high alert, hey? But I think even just in general, like here in NZ in general, we've got to be on, it feels like high alert these days. I'm probably a bit more paranoid these days when I go out, even just going for a walk. No, and that's not because I'm just in Purirua, but just in general, like I'm, what's the word? Probably as hyperactive as I've ever been, feels like, when I was still serving in the unit. Oh, even when I was doing private security, that's probably a better description. Because in the unit, yeah, you're always on edge. The private security space, you're definitely on edge. When I'd come back from trips and stuff away doing the private sector space, it would typically take me a few days, sometimes a bit longer, to, dare I say, wind down and to not be so uh, not attentive, but you know what I mean. I mean attentive, like wound up, uptight, paranoid. That's probably the word. Paranoid. It would take a while, but yeah, when I do go out, even just driving these days, it's probably more so a heightened sense of just taking more in when I'm out and about. When I'm at home, I feel like I can just like relax and not be so wound up or paranoid. But as soon as I leave, if I'm going for a walk, if I'm going for a run, if I'm driving in the car, I personally am a bit more just sort of taking things in as if I was protecting a client, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, just the way the world is and stuff at the moment, I suppose. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people might think I'm weird, but anyway, each to their own. So New Zealand, older New Zealanders selling the land and their children's, grandchildren's futures. Pull your socks up. Okay, that's what he thinks. WAMS UBNZ debate points based on primary Islamic texts, internal tensions, and comparative scriptural references. Points on Islamic texts and Western legal/cultural norms. Holy heck, this looks like it's going to be a long one. And I'm right, it is a long one. Yeah. Oh bloody hell! I'm not even sharing the screen, so you can't even see it. Hang on. Let's do this. Yeah, this is the one here. I was just going to say it looks like it's going to be a long one, so I'm probably not even going to read it. There it is. I'm just going to go thumbs up because bloody hell, bugger if I know what's in the Quran and bugger if I care what is in that thing or in the Bible, to be for that matter. Hammerhead. Oh, Hammerhead's back. They have been saying things like this about NZ and Australia for over 150 years. Everything is the immigrants' fault, and that we will be swamped instead of focusing on the failure of politicians. Yep, some good diversion tactics there from the politicians, no doubt. We see that constantly today. A distraction tactic, so we don't question what they aren't doing for the average person in Australia and New Zealand. Yep, I agree with that, Hammerhead. We definitely should slow the current rate of immigration and fix housing affordability and availability and focus on making current Australians and New Zealanders' lives better in both the short and long term before we do that for people who aren't citizens. Well, I personally agree with everything Hammerhead has just said there in that comment. And that was 8 days ago. So I've just seen that. Yeah, okay. I agree with that. What's this person say? This isn't just about economics, it's about cultural survival of tiny global minorities, which Kiwis are, and our ability to have a nation that is our own. Yeah, I think all of that. I don't think Hammerhead is saying forget about that stuff. It's just trying to break it down. I mean, if we were all trying to list out all the things, blinking heck, that we think need to be focused on, and government and those making the decisions, the political agendas, the distractions that happen. Oh, and look over there. We just made, what is good is that we got 13,000 jobs. Blinking that potato head with regards to what he's calling out. And people, I like to think that people aren't that gullible to just go, that's really good. We got 13,000 jobs, but it won't stop the governments of today in New Zealand or Australia from just being unable to say, yep, we got it wrong, we stuffed it up. You said employment would be lower. It's actually higher than it's ever been. Instead of saying, yeah, we stuffed that up, they had to have an answer like they are in control, like um, as if they appear to be in control. Oh, yeah, we expected that. We anticipated that to happen, were I think the first words out of his mouth. We expected that. Well, did you say that when you were running for office and prior to getting elected? We are going to bring employment rates down, as I think what most people heard. We didn't hear you say we are going to reduce the unemployment rate and therefore make it so that more people are employed. But just so you know, we do anticipate that we will be the highest we've ever been in 11 years. I don't think any New Zealander heard that in any of the spiel. But when it comes time to being held accountable, and just having some blinking balls about the person, in this case, their potato head Luxon, just own it and go, yeah, listen, we are not where we want to be. We got it wrong. We thought that we would be at this point if we did X, Y, and Z. He hasn't even spoken about that. What are you actually doing to improve the employment situation for Kiwis and stuff in general, to try to bring down and stop being the disaster that it is? I think Luxon recently called those like what's his name, David Seymour and Winston Peters, or implied that he didn't feel it necessary to be sharing a table with numpties from another party or something like that. Words to that effect. It's just crazy to me. I think David Seymour was the vice. Oh, what's the word? The 2IC, like the deputy prime minister for the second half of this 3-year term. Winston Peters, I think, was the deputy prime minister for the first half. And there he is calling, like they just call each other names, eh? Like it just amazes me that this government system is even in play. It should be it should just be disbanded and overhauled and then start from scratch. That's what I reckon. Blink and get some proper people in there to govern and manage and run this country. Pause everything. Disband the current government. Get rid of those twats. Stop paying $300,000, $500,000 a year for starters, especially with all the other taxpayers' dollars that have been used on everything else to support these supposed members of parliament that are working in the best interests of their people. Doesn't seem like they're working in the best interests of their people. Anyway, what's this one? Hammerhead, the borders. Oh, that's Hammerhead replying to there. I'll let them have their chat. Jason, think people should look at the meanings of the words multicultural and monoculture. Coming to a country to live and accepting / respecting, I think accepting, respecting that country's culture and laws without trying to change their ways to suit yours. Monoculture. Okay, cool. New Zealand was bicultural and damn proud of it. That's that person who I think had a spiel before. Daniel Warren. In the last 3 years, 520,000 plus immigrants have moved to New Zealand, around the same amount of people as the population of Christchurch. At that rate, we will be minority in our own country. And then they'll probably move off and go live in Australia, like what's her name? I think people call her Horsehead Ardern. Jacinda Ardern, former Prime Minister for New Zealand. Lincoln cut away, did what she, did whatever she did for the time that she was Prime Minister here, and then cut away and living the life over in Australia. Is probably what this government will probably do. Already happened in Auckland. This person's got here 2 hours. Might wrap this one up here for this live. Fishhead Hank _.live. I have never been to a non-Indian owned dairy. Well, yeah, I haven't been in these days anyway, but I definitely grew up, at least until my intermediate and early high school, third form. Huxley Road Dairy wasn't owned by an Indian at that stage anyway, from my recollection is anyway, growing up in that space. Let's again stop sharing that. Anything in the comments here? Since working in defence, Team Half Dozen Citizens said they were armed. Sorry, got that. Since working in defence, bro, I've become way more paranoid. Being exposed to SHIT, the average Kiwi never sees, has really opened my eyes. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Talk 5018. Like that's been something, I would call it a skill that some people might call it trauma, but I would call it a skill that I've been grateful to hold on to from my time in the military, and then take that into the private sector space, and then still have that and hold on to it. So yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it personally, but I definitely have felt within myself when I go out, being more vigilant is probably the word, is a way that I would describe it as well. Trying to be more vigilant when I'm out and about. Rubber Kiwi. I'm in Stokes Valley. About 10 houses from the mongrel mob pad. They leave me alone. I leave them alone. Stupid kids are the worry. They haven't learnt what they can't do yet. Yeah, and that's, a lot of that stems from within the homes and that, and the upbringings, and just blinking, some of the youth and some of the stuff that I've seen, they talk about, oh, you were just bored, so we just did this. Like, just bored. That is a rubbish excuse. Just bored, so I decided to go and vandalize some stranger's home, or decided to go and armed robbery, or bash some people that I don't know. Just stupid. That's not boredom. That's just blinking boredom. No brains, that is, and need a good kick in the backside. That's what those young kids need. And so some people will be, oh, that fella's blinking. People will be like, oh, I better report this guy. Look at what he just said. That's my take anyway. So unless you can run programs and services that have ways to try to mitigate that stuff to work, and I've been lucky enough to work in those spaces, not whereby you get to just go around and slap the young children and stuff around. Definitely didn't do that in the space that I was in, but where we needed to, definitely physically restrained them. So in the space where I was at Youth Horizons, with some of the youth up there in the Rewa, with one of the homes for these young boys that we're with, those young boys were just so used to just smashing up whatever they felt like. If they got upset and angry, they smashed the skybox, they smashed the TV, they threatened the female staff, they threatened some of the male staff. They damaged walls and doors and windows and thought that it was okay, and things just got replaced. I was like, yeah, nah, I'm not doing that while I'm on shift. Like, you can stop that, or you need to stop that now, because I will restrain you so that you don't go damaging the stuff. It's not a never-ending ATM machine. But that wasn't something that the service that I was working for. So shout out to Youth Horizons, like they've got their processes. That's not something that they wanted or that they felt was acceptable. Restraining the young boys so that they don't damage the property, so that they don't damage or hurt the other boys in the care or service, and so that they don't go thinking that they can just threaten the female staff or any of the staff, and that they can just get away with it, that everything's okay. So they had been used to doing that. Um, but yeah, I'm not I'm not wired that way to just let these little blink and toe jam 17, 16, 15, 14 year olds and 12-year olds think that they can just run amok and do what they feel like they need to do. And you know what? Things worked, like restraining them, talking to them calmly, and letting them know that that's not acceptable, and helping them trying to help them understand that that's not the go. That's not how the real world works. If you throw a tantrum like this out on Civvy Street, depending on who's there, you're likely to get knocked the truck out, and it may not be very good. It may be worse than that. So trying to, um, yeah, share some knowledge and impart some understanding to some of these young men, I think is a good thing. However, Youth Horizons, they went through their investigation, because I did restrain one of the young boys, and I had done it several other times too. Had a female staff member on shift with me, uh, told her to make sure that the other boys and that were okay. She came and checked as well, just to make sure, because I needed to restrain that young fella for quite some time. Um, but that's not how they like to do things. For them, some of their rationale was it's just property at the end of the day, and I get that to a degree. That's true, but it also, more than that, it sets a poor example and shows other young men in that service that they can just do what they like, and everything, like nothing's going to happen. We're going to buy a new skybox for them. We're going to buy a brand new big flash new TV. We're going to get them a new Xbox game so that they can play with it, even though they've destroyed it. And so it teaches them that there's no consequences, and that's not the right environment, in my opinion. It's not how I was raised, but at the same time, couldn't go slap them around the way that I was raised either. um, but I think there's also ways that, I've learned over time that you can do that without having to slap people around. Some, maybe get them to chuck a mouth guard and chuck the gloves on, and then let them go hammer and tong at it. Maybe that's a good release. Maybe some of them need a good blink and blood nose, or a few missing teeth or whatever, or a black eye. But in those sort of situations, when some of those young men have experienced some trauma and stuff as well in their lives, learning to adapt to and having a case by case approach in terms of those situations, I don't think there's anything wrong with, um, physically, which is what I had to do, felt that I had to do, physically restrain uh, some of those young people till they pull their head in and calm down, and all the while speaking to them in as polite and as a respectful way as you can. Even when the young fella did throw a punch and managed to, I was too slow to dodge that one, and it did catch me on the right side of my cheek. Um, you definitely have some instant thoughts of, go through your head. At least for me, I did. But yeah, that aside, understanding that he's a young fella, and he's upset, he's angry, he's been used to doing this for such a long period of time, and if something doesn't change, he's going to continue to do that same sort of thing. Anyway, as it was, they did an investigation. Everything went well. They spoke with me about it, but they also let me know that I can't do that again. And I did let them know. I said, listen, I can't. So as much as they were honest and upfront with me, I was honest and upfront with them, and said, listen, I can't promise you that I won't do that again if this person or any of the boys thinks that they can start damaging all the stuff in this home, and or threatening other staff, and or threatening the other boys. I cannot promise you that I won't restrain another young man if a situation like that presents itself. Anyway, lo and behold, sure enough, maybe a few weeks later, a similar situation happened, and I felt I needed to restrain the young boy, which I did. No marks, no damage, no pain or anything inflicted on the young boy. Staff members there to obviously witness and observe that as well and report it in. So the whole chain of command, we document everything every day, every shift, every night, into the reports, which go into the system and then also get fed to my manager. So even though I was in a team leadership role in that space, making sure that I got the team members that I was on shift with to report everything as honestly as they saw it, which is what they did. Another conversation happened again, and to be fair to their credit, they tried to let me know that you can't do this, and I was adamant in terms of who I am and how I was raised and what I felt would be good for these young men, because we had seen so many good changes in these young men in the time that I was lucky enough to be there. And that was based on feedback from other senior team leaders that had never seen these young men doing chores before, cleaning the walls, making sure that some of them just brushing their teeth every morning and every night. Things which to me were just no brainers, because in my house, that's what we taught our children to do. You are going to do chores, you're going to have good hygiene, you're going to speak respectfully to each other, to your parents, etc., to other people, and you're going to do as you're told. Just seemed like a no-brainer way to raise your children, dare I say, if you want to make sure that, or try to make sure as a parent, as a responsible parent, to try to teach them good values and things that they should be doing. Obviously, they're going to have their own agency and they're not going to be perfect. They're going to make mistakes. Kate to Pite, that's all good. That happens. But those things, bringing that stuff into the whare where we were, there was definitely a shift and change, and some of the people that had been there since that service had started commented how they'd never seen these young men doing stuff like that before. And so I think there's definitely ways of going about doing things in a firm but fair approach, and having a laugh at the same time. You can have a good laugh with people, but you can also let them know that the opportunity that they have to make these changes and to be better shouldn't be taken for granted. And if you want to not get a crack out in Civic Street when you leave this whare, this space, because you're not going to be there forever. We want to make sure that we've equipped them with as much knowledge and information and understanding and discipline and respect, etc., as we can before that day comes. So heaven forbid they don't end up, being in the news of being blinking knocked out or badly injured or ending up in hospital or whatever, because they thought their ratbag little ways that they could just do the same thing out in Civic Street, and then they find out the hard way. So yeah, anyway, where did that come from? Oh, that was on I'm in Stokes Valley in the stupid kids comment. Don't worry, they haven't learnt what they can't do yet. Not paranoid enough. If you're on here, talk. My so 13,000 jobs times $60 is $780,000 a week in groceries. A week. His base salary is 520,000 a year. Yeah, pretty crazy, in terms of 60 bucks a week. I mean, I could probably almost understand that if it's just him and his partner. I assume it's just him and his partner. I don't know if Luxon's got a family or young children or not. I don't expect members of parliament to broadcast their personal lives and for the public to know how many children they've got, although it probably is known somewhere, but it's not something that I go looking into. I don't particularly care. But 60 bucks, excuse me, he should start his he should start his own YouTube channel on Blinken frugal living and what he spends that $60 on, because I'd be interested to see it, in terms of what he's spending that on. Weet-Bix and rice, cans of tuna maybe. What's this? Definitely wish there was at least some level of accountability for politicians. Is that too much to ask for? Yeah, 100%. We've been fooled into believing they're our only options. Unfortunately, they aren't. We just can't find anyone else to vote for. Well, I think with that as well, based on what I've had a look, I think just the process to get in, to be able to get into Parliament is quite what's the word? Would complex be the right word? Would that be the appropriate word? Where's the Blinken? Dun, dun, dun. in terms of, like looking at setting up parties and stuff like that, there's a whole bunch of, or even just to be a member of parliament, there's a whole bloody, seems like a rigmarole to go through. Dare I say, onerous blinking process to go through to get into a position, um, to then be a person that can be put forward to be voted for, if that makes sense. So there's definitely a lot more, to it than just saying, "Here I am, pick me." This is what I would do, and as there should be, like there should be some definite process, rigor, structure, have a clear understanding of the current landscape, where the problems are, and how to address them, and where the opportunities are, and dare I say, where the potential pitfalls are. I.e., if you anticipated employment rates and numbers being the highest they've ever been, then be transparent about that when you're presenting that policy forward. Otherwise, don't use it as an excuse and deflect and distract from the reality that you've done a shit job and people are suffering as a result of it. Um, where are we? Command and off. I wonder if the 90-day trial applied to them. Bloody clearly not. Compulsory military training raised an awesome generation in the 1950s, made New Zealand a community too. Granddad had friends everywhere. Yeah, that's cool. I'm a supporter of that. People have asked me that question before. There's some there's a lot of merit to that, I think. Compulsory service. I didn't realize you'd met my parents, boys. This is 3 inches shorter from all the times I've tongue is 3 inches shorter from all the times I've had to bite it. Go and act like that outside in the real world. I'll call you an ambulance now. Yeah, and that's definitely, that's one of the responsibilities when you're working with youth at risk, is to not just, well, it shouldn't be to give them everything they want when they want it. It's to teach them that that's not how the real world works, and to try to teach them the skills and abilities to cope with and deal with those situations, and to not resort to smashing things up, threatening other people, and trying to intimidate people to try to get your way, because you're going to threaten and intimidate the wrong person one day, and you're going to get kicked straight in the nuts, get your knee stomped on, get probably cracked right in the throat, and have somebody's thumbs jammed into your eyeballs if they don't like what it is that you've said. And then to top it off, they may then just knock you out in the temple after that, or chin you in the end. It's just, yeah, stuff that people need to be aware of, or should be aware of, and in particular the youth coming through. I mean, it's just these youth that go around doing stupid stuff have clearly got a little bit of a brain on their head, whereby they must look to target individuals and places where it appears to be that there aren't going to be anybody, or people aren't going to come and rush in, like the tragedy which happened in Australia. How is it, out of that environment, a 60-year-old man from another store is running towards, like, not a short distance, making his way through other people to get to try to protect another store owner from these youth, who then turn on him, and tragically he loses his life, and four of those bloody little retards are released with their families. Yeah, that's disgusting in and of itself, but they've got, it seems, enough brains on their shoulders to look at and scope the area that they're in and go, actually, there's some people here, there's some men here that look like, if we play up with this person here, or this old lady, or this old man, or we try to rob this and do that, they may come over and they'll probably grab and deal to a couple of us. So let's wait, or let's go somewhere else. That's what I think they're doing anyway. If they're not doing that, well, I hope they continue to not do that, because one day their luck is going to run out, and they're going to come across some people, dare I say, some men that have had enough of these blinking retarded little twats that haven't been raised very well, or potentially they've been raised well but are choosing to rebel, and they're going to figure out that they shouldn't have done it. Yeah, but anyway, it's just a tragedy in terms of what's happened to that fella over there in Australia with what's happened. There was a kid like that in my school back in the day. It took someone to give him a bashing back for him to challenge his ways. Yeah, and I think there's probably some of that as well. Some might not learn unless they get challenged, and unless they get punched in the face back and go, oh, heck, I've been so used to just punching everybody else in the head and nothing happens. Now I've met somebody that's going to fight back. Oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. there was a kid like that in every school. He's the reason I got up to blue belt in Taekwondo. There you go. It's almost like they don't want average everyday citizens to get involved in governance with all that rigmarole. Yeah, I think that's when I've gone and had a look. So, like I've said, I have been looking into the political parties and looking at what does it take to, to run as a member of parliament and to do all of those things. What do you need? What sort of hoops do you need to jump through? And there is a lot of rigmarole to it. Nicholas Miles, hey mate, there's no fear of consequences anymore, and sadly, our sense of community has degraded. Also, yeah, it's no consequences, all right. And or those young people doing these stupid things are smart enough to know that they are a youth, and the adult laws won't apply to them. Even then, some of those adult laws are a bit of a joke, when you're talking about sexual predators and sexual offenders, and not being deported, not being executed. Realistically, they should just be executed because they're going to do it again. If reoffending history has taught people anything, we need to do is have a look at those. Sadly, people that reoffend and or that offend tend to reoffend doing the same thing. And sexual offenders are no exception. Show me a sexual offender, show me a child sexual offender, predator, or just a sexual offender in general. It doesn't have to be against a child, could be against anyone, who is going to come out on television and go, I've changed my ways. I've not sexually offended again in however many years since I did it this other time. And I'll show you a liar. That's a crock of rubbish. There's something wrong with those people in their head. And the communities are better off without them. That's just my honest take. The communities are better off without these retarded sexual predators roaming around, mincing around in the community, just looking for their next victim. That's what I think they're doing anyway. Community was the consequence back in the day. You break our rules, you can look after yourself. That's hard in NZ. There is a wood chipper on stage when they say that. There is a wood chipper on stage when they say that. Not sure what you mean, bro. Wood chipper on stage when they say that. That's all good. Commander Nov watched an interesting video on youth conviction trends over past few years in Australia. How less kids are being convicted, but same rate of youth crimes by an ex-cop turned lawyer. Could send you link. Yeah, send me the link, please, Commander Nov. I would add that to my list. I haven't seen that, but yeah, there's lots I could say in that video, no doubt. So definitely feel free to send me the link. What are those patches behind you, bro? Oh yeah, I was talking about C Troop patch for one squadron, the wings from when you do your parachuting in the regiment. This is a Kiwi Operation Iraqi Freedom right in the center. Obviously US flag, Australian flag. These are the dog tags, New Zealand dog tag, Australian dog tags. The mates to them are hanging up somewhere. And just the, what's that other one? Let's Roll with an American eagle on it. But there's a whole bunch of other patches and challenge coins and stuff that I've got. I spoke about it on another live that are somewhere in one of the boxes that are just in the back there, currently in storage. Yeah, that's all they are. Just collecting patches from other people from other units and things like that. But I've got a whole bunch of patches from different troops and from the Australian military, but also from UK and America and stuff as well. So I think I've even got a Jordanian one somewhere. Jordanian from when we were in Amman and part of the forward operating base and stuff. So yeah, whole bunch of patches, whole bunch of challenge coins somewhere. Not as many as some. I'd say when I say a whole bunch, I want to say probably maybe about 20 or so challenge coins from different units. So they're different unit challenge coin bits and pieces, and received one recently, obviously that redback one that I showed you with the one squadron SASR challenge coin, that one of the people that was over here in NZ recently on his holidays and popped around and kindly he had purchased that for me and dropped it around. I shared it on another live as well. What's this? No, so my soap. All took was for my mum to say, cook your own dinner. And that brought me back in line. Yeah, cook your own dinner, or what did you say? Yeah, hard case, eh? The power of mum's words or your parents' words. Nice, bro. Looks cool. Yeah, I thought I'd put something else in the background. There's a whole bunch. Like I'd probably have a big board of these patches, and then another board with challenge coins. Maybe not as big a board, but a board with the different challenge coins and stuff. Um, I can I can remember most of the people as I sit here, or definitely as I look at these ones. But as I think of the other patches that I've got somewhere in storage, I can remember most of the faces of the people that I exchanged stuff with to grab a patch or to get a challenge coin and stuff, which is cool. Um, yeah, some good memories of some of those people. Kiwi, that's like the US people out on bail for murder, killing again. Who could have seen that coming? Yeah, it's just nuts, eh? Crazy, all of that stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. There are people that can make a change. Dr. Paul Wood is an example, the author of a couple of these books, How to Escape from Prison and Mental Fitness, as I've mentioned before. So shout out to him. There are people that can and that do make a change. You probably know some people that have made significant changes from what they've done in the past, and that's cool. Like, it is possible, but um, I just don't think there's any need to run the risk with sexual offenders. Like, some people might go, "That's, you can't say that." Well, yes, I can. I can say whatever the truck I want. That's my thought. That's my opinion on it. And I just don't think there's any place necessary at all that is screaming out for sexual offenders to try to rehabilitate them. Don't get me wrong. There are places and good people out there that try to rehabilitate, re-educate sexual offenders. Good for them. That's the sort of work that they want to do. That's definitely not the sort of work I want to do. Um, but yeah, there's just no need for them. Like, you had your chance, bro. You knew it was wrong. The only reason you've stopped is because you got caught, and that's it. And so if we let you go, you're just going to look for and bide your time to do it again. Bloody trash. Anyway, nearly 2.5 hours. I did not expect this many comments or people to be on here, or at the time when I started this. That's partly why I chose to do it at that time, actually, because I thought I'll get through a whole bunch more comments. But to be fair, I did get through a lot of comments. Just hearted the comments, whether I agreed with the comments or not, just to try to remove them out of the scope of the unresponded comments. But there are still hundreds more in that space of my YouTube studio to probably just use as content like this. Maybe that'll be tomorrow night's live. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a different topic tomorrow, but we'll see. People about criminals and soldiers are one choice apart. Put on a uniform or end up in a prison. Overall, the skills are transferable. Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, eh? What's his name? The previous service manager for the reintegration service that I was lucky enough to take over and manage said something that's always stuck with me before I even took on that role. He said, "We're all just one poor decision away from going to prison." And it's true. We are all just one poor decision away. Some might say an accident away, but one poor decision away from going to prison. Um, and I agree with what you've got here. Criminal soldiers are one choice apart. I agree with that too. Younger me punched a hole in the work wall, fessed up to my ex-army manager, and he goes, "If you're going to punch something, make sure it hits back." Changed my life. He had my back though. Crack up. That's hard case. Proper professional criminals, I mean, not idiots. Yeah, mind you, those the idiot ones probably match up with the idiot soldiers that go in, because there are some idiots too that get into, that choose soldiering as a career that they shouldn't have. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, Rubber Kiwi. Man, really appreciate people stopping by. Commander Nov over in Australia. Other people that might have been over in Australia, My Soap, Rubber Kiwi, some of the usuals on here. Stuart McAdam, thank you for stopping by as well. Blanken, Jazz Dog, he's probably gone by now, but I'm just scrolling back up. Yeah, I know about Blanken, old Lovecraft twat, that Blanken idiot. Um, they had their time. Maybe they've dropped off, or maybe they just decided to lurk in the background and watch, unless they ascended to their higher bloody plane. Talk 5018. Yeah, Rubber Kiwi, Jazz Dog. I think those have been the main ones on here. Seems like it has. Yeah, appreciate you stopping by. Tuning in from Venezuela. yeah, appreciate you too, Commander. And I appreciate you all. Thank you for spending some time here. Comments, your experiences, your questions and stuff as well, but probably more so your experiences that you've shared. It's cool. It's good. Maybe one day I'll get to a platform or have a platform where I can run it like a video whereby people can actually talk, and so it's not just me yapping away. But hopefully I can still have the power to just go mute. Or mute the person. No, maybe not. I think, or maybe just the retards that come on there, and then allow the regulars, the ones that have been supportive from the start, to either show their face and just talk, and let them go, and or just block the blinking retards that try to hijack the chat. Anyway, look after yourselves, eh? Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm going to enjoy a chuppa chup with the blinking cardboard, compressed cardboard, I guess, thing, not plastic. Lollipop, just because. What is the time? It's well after my eating time start anyway, so yeah, look at that. First thing, I shouldn't really have a lollipop. I tend to try to have something healthy, or probably healthier, but right now I'm going to have the lollipop. I've taken the time to open it, so I'm going to have that first, and then I'll have some meat or some eggs and something after that, or after this, and then that should be it. We'll see. Anyway, can you give us the cool pixelated SAS face and deep voice? Well, on here, I don't think so. I don't think I can pixelate anything on here. This is just the YouTube studio, so I'm not using the Riverside one. I should probably not talk with that in my mouth, because I'm hard enough to understand without it in my mouth. I'm out then. Yeah, see you guys later, eh? Look after yourselves. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one, or yous will see me. Look after yourselves, eh? Mana wave, ka kits peeps. Thank yous again. Now I can have the lollipop. See you, Commander Nob.